the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I tell you what, tonight we are here. Race season has kicked off and upon us. 2020 style NASCAR is back in action, and tonight the Majors 2020 here. Sportsman Series is live at the Great American Race, Daytona International Speedway. Well, I'm Joe White up here in the booth, and I'm accompanied by John T. Wimmis. John, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Joe. I always love getting the season kicked off here, especially after watching it today and how crazy that was. So hopefully these guys keep it a little bit straighter, a little more together than the Cup guys did today. But always excited for Super Speedway racing. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, and you're right. And we're going to see some side-by-side tooth and nail style racing, full 200 laps here. So looking through the grid order here, got a lot of great names from the Majors. Now remember, this is a Sportsman Series, so you can check out the actual Pro Series over there at the GSRC if you want to, highlight and see, because there's many different servers being run for these guys throughout the series here. It's good to get to showcase, though, the guys here from the sportsman side of things there, and we got a field here tonight. Well, it's going to be a good one. It's not kind of our wheelhouse here, John. We did a 2.4 hours at Daytona. That was exciting to watch. But here, we got some oval-style racing, and you know a lot about it. I know a lot about it. It's going to be entertaining, man, tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Enjoyed, the road course racing they did. We learned a lot, and I know you had one before and I missed. But looking forward to this, man, coming back to our style of racing here with NASCAR and seeing how a lot of these, really good road course guys can do here on this oval, and trying to keep up in the draft here without causing a lot of issues. So should be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, I want to appreciate everybody tuning in, because again, Daytona style here tonight, getting them lined up side by side, coming in 200 laps, 500 miles around the Super Center. I call it the epicenter of all things motorsports, as we're getting set to go racing here. Tune in, sit back, relax, and enjoy. It's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a thrilling one here. Pace cars out of turn 4. We're about to get down and gritty here at Daytona and go racing tonight. Here we go, guys. Let's do it. Pace cars in, green flag flies, and we get a good start to this one here at Daytona. Everybody's going to be smooth sailing here. Now, this is the thing about the Daytona race here, John. Right now, everybody's being really patient because it's a long way to go. Strategy. Hey, man, I know you love you love plate track style racing. What would be your strategy here? Drop to the back, stay out front? Because, we always say it's not if, it's when the big one's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I found that you can have all the strategy you want. All it takes is one thing to happen and throw it all out the window. So my strategy now on these tracks is qualify as good as I can and just go ahead and go for it. You got a 50-50 shot of wrecking or finishing. So you may as well try to make the most out of it and have fun.
Oh, Absolutely, I tell you what, and you're right. You know, 50-50 shot. But these guys, man, definitely, you know, out here on this track right now. Everybody's being patient. Out front, you got Brian Hollick looking pretty good. He's got a good draft help right there behind him. Daniel B. Johnson's hanging out with him. Ernie Lugwood, you got Joshua up front. Highline's looking pretty good so far as everybody is 2 by 2 by 2. I always call it textbook style drafting to see the gap they got in between the cars. That way, you know, we're going to see those guys close that gap up later on in the race. And we're at lap 2 into this one. They know they got a long way to go. They got a lot of strategy. And, you know, they don't want to jump these things early on.
You just, right now, all you're really trying to do is just settle in, find you a good position to be in here, and focus on that first round of pit stops. Of course, you know, as you come up through the field, you're going to push and shovel on some guys and do some things to help get you in good position here, because what it boils down to is when it's time to pit, you don't want to be on that outside.
Absolutely not. Here riding along with old Gary Nichols right there, and he's got a good-looking machine out there. Got the Cal Speed racing machine, and just kind of out there cruising and cruise control right now. And Gary's he's up to 6th place. A lot of you know, give and take, but still side by side, nose to tail here at Daytona as we're early on. Again, the Sportsman Series here for the majors, and with 2020 season upon us, appreciate everybody tuning in. A lot of these drivers, man, they're enjoying it so far, but good action pack on the track.
Right now we've got, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 2 by 2. We got some single file here with some guys being patient in the back, but great side-by-side racing right now. We've got Brian Halleck, Daniel Johnson, Joshua Mertz, and Ernie Ludwig up here in the top 4 positions. Still 2 by 2 going.
Yeah, that's right. Cutting off on your mic a little early there. But you're right, man. 2 packs going on. This is something that, you know, is not unheard of to see. You know, obviously you got a side-by-side group up front. You know, freight train happening on the top side, freight train happening on the bottom. And then you see just kind of early on, guys just marring back in the back. Like right now, Matt back there in 17th place, got Corey and Lucas along with him. So those guys just back there in cruise control. Again, you know, we always got to picture. It's usually not if the big one. And if you watch the Clash today, well, hey, typical Daytona.
Typical in weird spots, I guess you could say. It was a little too demolition derby for me. I wasn't a big fan of that, but hopefully these guys here could pull something off. Now, obviously, at the end of the race, we know intensity is going to ramp up here, but we've still got 6, 7 rows here, 2 by 2. These guys looks like they're giving each other plenty of room. Also, giving yourself that space from the back end to the front end of your car helps get the air to the radiator, so you're not going to overheat.
You're right. I mean, you don't want to overheat. Now, I've always said that's I kind of allude to it and say it's kind of like a textbook drafting style. You know, they leave about a hood, a full hood, or half a hood length in between, and they'll race along that. And I think we will see a lot of that in the real Daytona 500 come next week. You'll see this early on. Right now, what we're seeing is a freight train up top. O'Brien, he's hanging out up there, looking very good. You got Daniel Johnson down low. But these cars, you see them, they're bouncing around a little bit. That's just the air that these guys are pushing on them. Something that you have to talk about. The new tire model here, you got to look at it. You know, it allows these guys with this type of, with the downforce they got, the tire model, I've noticed it allows, not really, you know, used to the Cup car, you couldn't stay side by side like this. It was a single file affair.
Yeah, and I think the way it is now, you know, with everything's pretty evened out. Very much like what we saw today, you know, in the real race at Daytona here. Takes people behind you and a lot of help. And as the race goes on, we're going to see these guys right now. They're nice and spaced out, real respectful, giving each other room. Later on in the race, we're not going to see things like that. You're going to see them coming off of 4 here, giving each other a shove in the rear end here, trying to make up, you know, as much room as they can and pass. And I think the outside lane is probably going to be the place where you want to be.
Yeah, you're right. I'll definitely agree with it there. You know, it's evened out here on the track right now, and you can see it up front. Brian's still got a lock on it, and he's got his dancing partner behind him. But the top side has with Joshua up there and Ernie Lugwood. Definitely tooth and nail. nice paint jobs out here tonight. Seen a lot of great paint schemes out there throughout as we're here at the Daytona 500. This is for the major series, Sportsman Series here tonight. Again, if you want to check out the Pro Style Series, check them out over there on GSRC on their YouTube channel. Those guys have got the Pro split going on for the American side of things. It'll be on the iRacing network. Go check that out. And I think they also have the international and the European one going on, or the Australia and European one happening also. So you can definitely check out all that. And they had their duels and their clash here at the majors just as of yesterday, and that was an awesome thing to get that out of the way and done and qualifying here. So far, a good, patient race. I mean, is this what you expect to see out on the track here?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, you got a 200-lap race, and we're only 9 coming to 10 laps into it. So this is exactly what you want to see, what you want to be doing. Even the guys in the back want to see that, because it's no sense in tearing up everybody's stuff right now. So I like the space that I'm seeing and the patience up front here. We got 7 rows of 2x2. We'll just see how long these guys are going to go, who's going to work with each other. Pit strategy is going to be huge. Who you can trust, especially coming down towards the end, and be one of the players. You got to be in the top 4, 5, 6 spots to be a player at the end of this thing.
You talked earlier about an incident we saw in the real life clash today. All these guys are seeing in front of them when they get way up there in the back and start doing a lot of bump drafting is that huge spoiler on the back. And and I know those are actually handed out from NASCAR. Now, obviously, we're in the virtual style world here at iRacing.com. But, they mimic what that spoiler looks like. And that is an official style NASCAR handed spoiler. But it is huge, and it restricts a little bit of the view that these guys see in front.
It definitely does. If you're the car behind someone else, you're pretty much dependent on the guy in front of you, and you're trying to just stay centered up on his car, follow him around the best you can. But yes, as you've been behind him. It's a little annoying, and it's even annoying if you're driving, trying to look behind you, see what's going on. Maybe somebody's not right up on you, and you're trying to gauge something that's happening. But I think, number one, it's a pain. Number two, it creates for situations like what we had today in the real world. Now, some people might like a lot of wrecking, but I'm not one of those guys. So I wish they'd cut about 4 inches off that spoiler and then let them go at it.
Yeah, and I think all of it is, they did the aero package last year, I believe it was, and we saw it. I mean, and iRacing's implemented it over here. Now, they did do, what's going to be interesting to see in NASCAR this season about the short tracks and the smaller tracks, power back or taking the downforce away. So that'll be interesting to see, but still out here, these guys are going to, side by side, run it out pretty good. Be patient throughout this race.
Yeah, right now we're not really seeing a whole lot. Still 2x2 here as they come down off of 4. So I've still got 6 rows of 2x2. Everybody's being very patient. No pushing and shoving on each other here. So I like what I'm seeing right now is they're, just kind of staying with it, just maintaining and turning laps. And that's all you can really do at this point in the race right here is just get it down to that first pit stop here as we see the 16 get real close up there up front. I might start giving them a little shove here if they want to get down to the bottom.
Absolutely, and that's me nose to tail right now. I'm just looking at one of the drivers out there, Marco, and throughout the race we'll kind of, highlight a couple of these drivers. They, did a few bios out here. So Marco, Wolfpack Esports is his team there. He is from Italy. Hey, go, man. You got a cross-seas driver out here. That is awesome, man, to see from Italy out here to driving and so forth. And we see him out there with his profile picture. Running right now pretty good in the 6th place spot, being very patient. So, hey, like you said, guys, man, definitely patient right now. I think they'll probably start testing the waters a little bit as the race goes on. Still side by side. Ernie Love out there with Kinetic Motorsports still, but man, good racing up front. Still nose to tail. Daniel Johnson there along with Brian. He's looking to try to give a shove, but everybody's just staying 2x2x2.
Yeah, they are. And I'm actually on the in-car viewer right now of Joshua Mertz in the 14 car. And just trying to pay attention to his throttle response here. What is he doing with Brian Halleck in that 3 being behind him. How much is he having to lift getting there to the spoiler? And so far, he really hasn't lifted very much. These guys are pretty much staying in it and letting the draft work for him here to just stay up front and maintain their position. But listening to the throttle, it doesn't sound like Mertz is letting off hardly at all.
You know, and you talk about that too, because I know when I did a lot of draft to keep that car stable and to keep it off the guy's back bumper, because he's definitely going to get a run, like you said, Joshua would, as they head off down into backstretch into turn number 3. You know, I would drag that brake, have it planted to the floor, and just tap and drag the brake some a little bit, because there's a lot of guys that do it differently. I don't know how you do it on the track there, John, but some do actually track the throttle. Some actually just drag the brake a little bit, ease the momentum of that car. I feel like dragging the brake is actually a better way, because you don't lose quite as much momentum as when you might crack that throttle. But hey, then again, I could be wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. I was going to tell you I had nothing else to add to that education right there. So that's exactly right, especially with the horsepower being the way it is. If you lift, it just kills it. It kills any run you've got, kills any momentum. So you'll see a lot of people on your telemetry there that, you know, as you see in real life, like we saw today during the race, that's pretty much riding the whole lap around, dragging the brake.
Absolutely. Right now, man, up front, Brian Halleck, he's hanging on to the top spot, but he's got a lot of help behind him and a lot of help up top up there with Brian, Ernie Ludwig, Joshua, and like I said, Marco and Gary Nichols. They still dancing around up top as you got a freight train line there all the way back side by side as they complete this lap. We're 17 in to the 200 lapper here tonight. What's going on, folks? How y'all doing out there? It's named Pew. Tim's out there, Jaden's out there, and a couple other ones out there that in the back. Let's see, Christopher, Jane, Logan, Jim, just to name a few out there. Probably can't get them all, but I want to appreciate everybody tuning in. It's a long race here tonight, but hey, I tell you what, it's going to be fun. I love these Daytona 500, love some plate track racing, love the excitement these guys bring. And right now, they are rumbling around this joint here. Tooth and nail, nose to tails. They're going to come to the start-finish line. Who's going to get us a drag race? Daniel Johnson's going to get it that time.
Yeah, right now we got a little bit of a breakaway here about the top 6 cars as the 08 comes back up to the fold here on the high side. That's Gary Nichols bringing the Triple Eight of Chris. How do you say that last name, Joe?
Yedio, I'm gonna go with around that about. I'm not. I'm like you. I don't want to butcher it, but hey, maybe we can get a word in with him, and maybe somebody out there can give a confirmation. Fill it out for me here.
And that's one thing that we hate is butchered names, so we don't want to do that. But it's amazing to actually see what's happened here. The top 6 cars had a bit of a breakaway. Then the guys get the draft, they get a little shove from behind, and now they're all right, stacked back on top of each other. And right now, like we said, everybody being very patient. We see the 08 up front now moving down to that inside lane, wanting to be there maybe to position himself for pit stops.
Yeah, and I'm watching back here in the very back. You talk about, because pretty much the whole field's under a blanket. But very, very close, though. Daniel Davis back here, along with Gustavo and Jared. They're very close to, you got to go back to Gustavo, excuse me. Very close to losing that tail end of the draft. They're right there probably on the borderline of losing that draft. You see them, they're just not together as a group. And it could be by design. Obviously, if there's a big one, that'll close that up, or caution and close that up, no problem. Bernie White's the only car that's a lap down, unfortunately, here. But, yeah, they're right there just hanging on the tail end of the draft, just kind of again, cruise control back there.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like this is probably by design for a lot of these guys. As I went through the field, there were varying miles per hour here, and looked like some guys were waiting up for others, but I feel like they're doing this pretty much by design. This is what I'd call the Michael Waltrip strategy, where you go hang out at the back and see what happens for a while.
Hey, nothing wrong with that either, too. I'll tell you what, because it can pay off, and I've seen guys though. Don't want to say that qualifying's not important here, but I have seen guys win this race 2 laps down from pit road I've seen guys win it from the front, pole. I've seen them win it from the middle and the back. So it can happen anywhere on the track. And obviously, all kinds of strategies can happen right now. You can be out front and get junked real easily here. You can be in the middle and get destroyed. You can be in the back and get destroyed. So it's right now, though, still side by side for everybody up front. And, as long as they stay patient like this, I think they're good. But again, they're going to ramp it up as this race goes on.
Yeah, they do. We got a stack of 7 rows 2x2 here. The other thing that goes on is, because this is the virtual world and not real life, you kind of can get lulled into a little false sense of security, right? You're like, all right, I know I've got the hang of this. I know my spacing with this guy, and maybe I'm going to give him a push here and there. And you start doing that. Next thing you know, the guy wiggles in front of you. You hit him in the rear end a little too much off center, and then there everybody goes. So there's a whole lot of things that could happen just as in real life, but you're just not pulling the G's, feeling the heat and all the things that go with the real part, the realism of it. But a lot of things that could happen on the virtual side, just as in real life, when you want to try something, you experiment with, maybe pulling out a line like we saw Denny Hamlin do a couple times today during the race, wanting to see how much of a run he could get on somebody and how much help do I need, or side draft. You're going to start seeing these guys try around, play around with some things, working with other guys, maybe try something on their own just to see what happens. And it's, racing is trial and error, but mainly just a crap load of error. So
that's a good way to put it. I like that. I tell you, and you're right. I mean, especially plate track racing, sometimes you got to have some luck here with this place. You got to be able to know where to put the car at. Right now, riding along here with Ernie Lugwit, and he's doing an outstanding job up front there, coming up on a lap car. He's going to hang up to the top side. The whole pack's going to kind of just go flying right by, or they don't want to get up there too close to him. That's usually sometimes when you cause a big one. We're not out of the woodwork.
Exactly.
Hey, we're not out of the woodwork.
Like the ARCA race.
Well, there you go. I mean, we're not out of the woodwork to having 3 wide, because you can go 3 wide here at this place.
Yeah, you can go 3 wide here. The problem is this track is a lot more narrow. People think it's big super speedway just as wide as Talladega. Talladega is much, much wider than Daytona is, and so 3 wide isn't the smartest thing, but it's going to happen.
You're right, and right now, though, everybody's sticking to 2 wide side by side here, and just, kind of going to leave it at that if they can. But I got a feeling as it gets on and we get up to maybe lap 100, the pit stops, we should start seeing those here pretty soon. We're at lap 25 already.
Yeah, I'm not real sure. The pit window, I would imagine, is probably around 35.
I believe you're about right. So I'd say probably the next 5 laps or so, you're going to start seeing those guys up top there, maybe trying to give way to try to get in down low. Everybody's going to have a different pit window. I've seen it some past Daytonas here that we've done with a couple clashes here. But, I think you're right. I think we're going to see around, I don't believe they're running 100% fuel here. Even if there was, then we're going to talk about way up into the, even 100% fuel in a real race is about 40 laps, I believe?
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, even so, I'm with you. I'll say the next maybe 5 to 6 laps, start seeing pit stops.
Yeah, we'll really know if guys are fighting to get to the inside lane. So it's usually a dead giveaway right there. People are pitting in the next couple laps. So right now, we still got a lot of 2x2, though. Just still same guys up front. Just Ryan Halleck here and Johnson up front fighting for 1 and 2. And still got their helpers behind them doing a terrific job here. The 16 of Ludwig giving a good push to Johnson back to the line.
Oh, little wiggle right there at the top side. Right there is what you don't want to see. You don't want to see that kind of wiggle on a guy up there on your back bumper. It's going to give you a little shove. What's up out there, Tommy? How you doing out there? Well, Tommy Haynes, that's your buddy out there, John. He's watching us out here. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's because he doesn't have anything else to do today, so he's probably cleaned his house like a good boy, and now he's ready to sit back and pass out.
True. Yeah, Rashad out there like what you said. We'll know when they start going down at the bottom when they're going to the pit. Yes, absolutely. Right now, Brian Hollick, man, has been the man out front for most of the race. You got Daniel Johnson up top there, though. Those two have commanded it so far, back and forth. And like you said, Joshua behind them. Ernie right there along with him. Gary Nichols, top 5. But it's been almost like a 6-car freight train up top and looks to be about 8 or 9 down low throughout the field. That high lane has been very impressive, the change of what it has been over a year here on the virtual world of iRacing. As you can see, normally we would not see a high lane be that competitive in the past, but this package has brought about that kind of racing.
It does, and these spoilers punching that type of air. But here's the other thing too that I really enjoy about super speedway racing here is if you could go 3 wide down the middle, that's the fastest place to be. The problem is, you've got to have help, and you've got to trust the guys to both sides of you to hold their line so you could try to get through there. So it is the fastest. There's a lot less air there for your car to have to fight through, but very difficult to do, especially on this little narrower track than Talladega. But I'm really impressed with the patience that I've seen from everybody so far. I like what a lot of these guys up here are doing. I like Gary Nichols right now just being very patient, position himself on the bottom here right behind the 3 and the 14. And I like what he's doing. I think he's one of them that should have a really good shot today, and somebody that does pretty well with oval racing.
There you go. I'm with you on it there, and just riding on the inside here with Rob, who is being very, very careful, very courteous out there. Car looking pretty good though. What's up, Rashad? How you doing? Dearburn could be. Hey, anybody can win this race out here. That's just how. That's how plate track racing can turn about here in a heartbeat. Anybody can pull this thing off at any given moment. Again, we talk about it. We talk about it all the time. It's usually not if, it's when the big one's going to happen. But again, we're 30 laps into a 200-lap race. Guys are not pushing the envelope a lot. They're being very, very patient up front. Daniel Johnson and Brian Hollick right there, the two out front leading it. Everybody else looks to be content to just ride behind them right now, and that's something that we've just talked about. But again, I think green flag pit stops, and I think you're going to see probably Daniel maybe slide down the inside here soon.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to start positioning themselves, unless you've got some guys that want to try to, make it another lap around. But you got to have the drafting help here. We see up front now, look, 2 coming down from the outside lane, taking it down to the inside, leaving 3 cars to the outside now. So I think we're getting in position.
I think you're right. That was actually Daniel Johnson and Ernie right there. They was able to make it in front of Brian. Everybody single file. You can see that top lane backing off. I think here we go. This is everybody going to conclude, bringing up a green flag pit stop here pretty soon. You're right, Richard. They are so unpredictable.
Yeah, right now leaving the 64 car in a really tight spot here, up here by itself, trying to fight this inside lane here. Getting a really good shove right now from the 093 of Harold Darner right now. Gave him a really good shove into the corner, but it's only 2 of them against these cars on the bottom here. So it'd be interesting to see how these guys do it. But the 2 up front, man, made it work. I think Ernie gave Daniel a big shove to get in front of Brian Halleck there to get themselves in position, lead some laps here, and get through the first round of pit stops.
When we talk about pit stops, let us know here, because I know, John, you race a lot of these plate track races. It's been a while. Oh, we got a huge wreck. Back on the replay and watch. Oh, car in the wall. And then we got one upside down. It took a lot of them out. Wow, Robbie went up into the wall. He hit the wall, came back down the track there, John. And man, the 64 on his lid. Go back and watch that thing one more time here. Wow, as it happened. kind of a slow-mo, but he hit hard.
Yeah, he did, and going back and looking at it, it seems like he lost the rear end of the car right as he started to turn in, right past the light there. You'll see the right rear of his car kind of kicking out towards the wall, and it's like he tries to correct it and goes up and slams the.
You're right. And then end over end, the 64 machine. Just rewind it back one more time here. Watch that. Just boom, hard into the wall, upside down. So we're under caution for the first time here tonight. Wow, well, it came right close to when the pit cycle was supposed to be, but man, hard lick there for a couple guys out there. And obviously, definitely everybody's going to make their pit stop, but well, that's Daytona for you. You just never know, but you're right, kind of unusual that car kind of kicked up sideways to the right like it did.
Yeah, every once in a while, especially at a track like this, and you're really hard on your wheel, you want to make your motions as small, subtle motions as you can. You don't want to be sawing away on that thing because it causes something like that to happen. So it could have just been a big overcorrection there. But as you see, all the leaders, everybody's going to be coming down pit road here.
Pit road going to be a busy place here with these guys as he's bringing it down. Ernie Ludwig, Daniel Johnson's going to bring them all down to pit lane. Everybody on pit lane right now, I guarantee you, 4 tires and fuel is going to probably be well, I don't know. I say that this is Daytona. You can get away with not actually putting 4 tires, but it does look like everybody here is putting 4 tires on.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to be taking any risk right now. It's way too early for that. So may as well get your 4 fresh ones, and you got to wait on a tank of fuel anyway. So if anything, you're probably giving up maybe 1.5 to 2 seconds, to do the tires. So we'll see as we go later in the race. Might see guys, only take 2 to save themselves a little bit.
Daniel Johnson wins off the race off pit road. Brian Hollick right there behind him. Ernie Ludwig's going to come up into the 3rd. Joshua's going to 4th. Gary Nichols up in the 5th. So very patient on, but an incident in the back there just by, saw earlier on. Unfortunate, Robbie Courtney was involved. Krista Yedio, I'm going to hope I said that last name right. I apologize if I'm not, but they took out Joshua Allen. Rob Powers also was involved with that. So it looks like only about four or 5 cars were mixed up in that incident.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate there where he went up into the wall and bounced off and came back across the track there. So, maybe it could have been, an issue with his wheel, but just looked like the rear end of that thing really came out from under him going into the corner there. So kind of an odd problem, but it does happen on here every once in a while. You'll be the guy that has one of those odd issues happen. I've been there and done that and felt like an idiot. So
yeah, me too. I've been in that situation before. I'm with you, and you're right. You just never do know. And we talked about earlier on, what's the safest place around? Well, we saw that one happen in the back there. So that was kind of way back in the back of the track, and not up front. Normally you see it, but still lap 36 into this one here tonight. Rashada, you know what? I don't want to jinx a driver and give him the broadcasting. So let me ask you that question: who's your favorite driver out here? Who's all y'all's favorite drivers out tonight? I'm gonna stick to my old saying, and it's whoever finishes first.
Yeah, we've learned to not do that anymore.
Yeah. There you
know,
go.
when you do it, the guys get mad at you. The other thing is, these guys get to run their own setups, right? So part of that deal makes me feel like it was in his setup for that thing to be that loose.
Yeah.
And make that happen. So that just kind of odd, man, for that to happen in that spot. But yeah, those things do happen. I wish I had something really educational sounding to say to that, but it's not there.
Well, but you did bring up something, because normally we are so fixated on fixed setups. This is not a fixed setup. They actually do have their own setup. So that is a very interesting thing, and to see and everybody there. My favorite is me. All right, there you go, Shane. Absolutely, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Pulling for himself.
To first be liked, you must like yourself.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, under caution here for the first time tonight, the Daytona 500 here for the Major Series, Sportsman Series tonight for the majors of the 2020 here. As like I said, we're at Daytona International Speedway. These guys out front, been a very good competitive race so far. Everybody's been very patient, but under caution, they had a little incident there. It's got about 5 cars there back in the back. Looks like it just got a little loose, and next thing you know, nowhere to go, because that's just how plate tracks happen out here. Got a lot of people. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and hey, sit back, relax. I tell you what, it's going to be a good one, but looks like we're lining them back up side by side. Lights off on the pace car. We're going back racing.
Well, everybody's got some laps under their belt here. They kind of know what they're working with. Maybe made some adjustments, going down pit road here. Especially anybody that felt like maybe they were getting a little loose. As you burn the fuel off, the car's going to act differently. So it'd be interesting to see how these guys are going to do, and if we're going to see the same amount of patience. I feel like we will out of the top 5, 6, 7 guys. You might have some guys towards the back that want to, maybe get away from trouble and create a third line and try to come up through the field. So, it's like you say, anything could happen here, but really impressed by what these guys are doing up front here and the patience so far.
Absolutely. It's been a very, very good competitive style race, and, 37 laps into it here. Good one, man. Good smooth running as the pace cars bringing them out of turn 4. We're getting set to go back green flag racing here tonight. The Daytona 500 here for the Major Series Sportsman's Class. We go. Pace car is going to drop off. Daniel B. Johnson, the man out front, is going to lead them to the line with Brian Hollick up there. Pace car's in. Green flag back in the air. We're back racing at Daytona.
Yeah, see the guys up front there. Really big space between them there. Something I would not want to do is be up there by myself, especially on the top side, but they really took off and just left a ton of space behind.
And that's the one thing we always say, kind of a no-no, because you can come up here and they could draft right by like a freight train. You don't want to get too far out front. Those guys, man, again, we talked about the draft, and you can already see that top lane is going to try. They're going to grab that top car up there, and you're going to be back with 4 cars up high and about 8 or 9 down low. You ask, can they go 4 wide? Sure, they can go 4 wide here. Would not advise it. This track's not as wide, like John mentioned earlier, as the Talladega. Talladega, they could do it kind of easily. Here, 3 wide is probably the norm, and even then, that's a narrow place. But a 4 wide, yep, can be done. Just again, that's disaster that's a recipe for a major disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, right now, I think we're going to see a big run out of this outside lane here. I think coming down the backstretch, the 488 is going to catch up to these guys. The inside lane had a bad stall coming down the backstretch that last lap, all created by the way the leader decided to start.
He did, and you can see right there on the bottom, not sure what the number is, looks like 5, if I'm not mistaken, down low. He is actually catching up to him, but Brian Hollick is way up top. He's got 4 or 5 machines there. If they can get lined back up, they're going to push back up there to the leaders. As you see, Daniel's already got that inside lane. Burl almost nose to tail. The problem is that one car right there, clear shot of who that is. Yeah, we can. That is Lucas. I thought I saw and looked at him. The reason why that car, I believe John's not able to get up there, he's got a lot of damage on the nose at 45.
He does. I thought that might be who you were talking about, but I didn't want to ask a lot of questions while you were looking.
Yeah, I was looking. Just wanted to get a good close-up of a nice paint job of the car, by the way. But, yeah, I just noticed he's not able to get up there and run down. Normally he would already ran down the top 2 guys, but, what's even more surprising, he's holding. Now, as long as he stays tucked up behind someone, he could be okay. But, again, he's got to get tucked up behind someone.
Yeah, with the damage on the front end where he's got to stay where he's at. Being out front is not going to do anything but be a hindrance to him and anybody behind him. So He's got no choice here but to stay in the draft. But the other thing is Brian Halleck in the 3's got a decision to make here. He's not getting a lot of help from behind with the car that's on him. The inside lane just keeps passing car after car. People need to form up in this outside lane, but the 3 car needs the car behind him to be up on his rear end every time the track is straight. That's the time to get up there, give that guy a shove, get your spots back here. So we see the 58 coming up into the outside lane. Maybe it'll force the car behind the 3 here, force these guys to get a little bit closer, because it's the only way you're going to be able to compete with the inside lane.
Right now I'm looking at where Brian is, and I got a feeling he's probably looking at that car. Lucas has got the damage, because Lucas is keeping an opening right there, not being able to close it. If Brian could get in front of him, I got a feeling he'd probably opt to maybe drop down there and ride with the top 2 guys. He just can't quite get the help to get pushed around him.
Yeah, the outside lane, for it to work and be successful, which is my favorite lane here, you've got to be formed up, and the guys behind you have to know. The guy up front, it's your job to hold a straight wheel. Everybody else, it's their job to stay in the throttle and push you as good as they can. Keep an eye on their temperature at the same time. Not give up too much here, and he's just not getting any help from behind. So at some point, he's going to have to find a hole in that bottom lane and drop down.
You're right. Right now, it's just not happening for him as those guys, man, there. Actually, it's Harold who was actually behind him there. Doesn't have the help, like you said. That top lane, losing momentum by the lap here. So, I don't know. Brian, like you said, is going to have to come up with something eventually. He's going to have to make a choice if that top guys don't. And there he looked like he was going to try to sneak in, but, man, that was close.
Real close side draft in there with the 08 and the 3, and even I believe it's the 16 up here. You see these guys, how trying to pull down on them, run them tight through the corner, and all that's doing is pulling some air off of him. He's trying to stay on his right rear, pull the air off of him, keep him up there, keep him competitive. But you see the 16 working with the 45s, they've been able to push him back up there to those guys. If the 3 could get the same help, he could probably get up there and, and run for leading laps, if not try to take away the lead here.
Yes, he could. That's just, like you said, though, Lucas, with that damage, just not able to pull up there on the back end of Joshua or Daniel Johnson right there, as they still command the out front here as they cross the line, complete lap 45 here tonight. The 200 laps here for the Daytona 500 for the major series in the Sportsman class. Up top, we're watching Brian Bullock so far, looking very, very good, but he just needs some help up there. Earlier on, we saw that outside lane very competitive with the top guys. Right now, just not being able to pull up there.
No, they're not. The inside lane here, big checkup for these guys as the 3 going to go ahead, go by the 08 again, but a little bit of a checkup there. And I think it's coming from the damaged 45 car. As he gets up there, I think that he's lifting the throttle by listening to it, and it's losing his momentum. Then he's got the damage here. So these guys are going to have to make a decision. Are we going to continue to help this car with the damage, or are we going to leave him hung out there? And the 3 car would love it if anybody would come up to the outside lane, except for that 45 car.
No doubt about it. You got 3 of them up there up high, but a whole freight train down low as Daniel's bringing them around here, storming off down the back stretch, nose to tail. Definitely being patient. We're watching is that we're talking about the car sitting in 3rd right now would actually be Lucas, who actually's got a lot of damage there on the front nose at 45, and it's hindering him just a little bit of being able to close that gap up on the pace here. You can see it as we ride there on the nose of him. I don't know where he got it. Probably got in the last wreck and was able just to get up front there. He took a 4-tire stop, so definitely got the track position, but I just don't have the car right now to be able to maintain. He can maintain as long as he's got help behind him.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take for him to even be competitive at this point, is maintaining the draft. But you see where the 45 is right now. He's got about a car length, 2 car length. Once you fall behind so much, you're going to lose that draft. So you got to have the pusher behind you. But the guy behind him has got to understand that you're creating a problem for me in what you're doing. So at some point, I'm going to leave you hanging out and do what's best for me. But the guy that I'm keeping an eye on, to be honest with you, is the 58 car, Stephen Paulson. The last couple laps, man, he just gets a massive run. And I wish that he would use the run that he's getting on the car in front of him, put it to his bumper, make those guys go, and start pushing your way to the front.
Yeah, I got that Jimmy Dean Bean car out there looking pretty good, and you're right, he's up top. He just needs to, he'll definitely get the run from where he's at because he'll get the pull on the draft. I'm with you on the one with the car there. Obviously, it's early. They're not going to push the issue as so much as if it was maybe 20 to go and Lucas was sitting where he was. Then you would see a lot of, okay, Lucas, yeah, man, hey, we got to go. Obviously, we saw the clash today. Denny Hamlin pretty much pushed his teammate to the win. But the announcers thought he was in second, what Denny was. But John told me that actually Denny was a lap down, so that makes sense in our ordeal. I would have hoped that Denny, or any racer, even if they wasn't a lap down, they would have been like, well, you know what, if I got the car to win, I'm going around you.
Yeah. Well, I knew watching at home, I was like, I don't know why they're yelling about Denny passing him. Like, I knew exactly what was going on. I'm sure a lot of other people did. But here we go with the 3-car getting a great run and a really good push from Harold Darner this time, coming down the backstretch. Really like what I see now out of Harold Darner, giving that 3 a shove here, trying to get his air, as they go into the corner. This is where you want to make sure you're getting air into the car, so that way when you come back down the straight, right here, you can tuck right back behind that guy, center up on him, and give him a shove again. So really good push that time by Harold. Maybe he's just trying to work his way up to it, getting the courage to know where to push. But that time what he did was pretty spot on.
Absolutely, and you know what, right there, the car sitting behind Lucas would have probably been an opportune time to jump up high there with him too. Now they're losing a little momentum there as they clamber back. I saw up front Joshua look to the inside just for the moment of Daniel, maybe just to get a little bit of clean air on the nose of that car. I think he's feeling if Brian starts getting a run up high, you might see Joshua jump up there and go high with him, and then they try to freight train around the leader, because what will happen then, well, that'll put Lucas back and put Daniel Johnson down low. So we'll just have to see what happens if Brian can get another run up front.
And here we go again with another lap car meeting the field here on the front stretch. Let's hope everybody gets through there this time and keeps it clean here. But Darner again with a good job here, staying close to the 3. This is the space that he wants, exactly where he is. See the run that he gets. But he gives up on the run and goes to go out to get air. That time he should have stuck with it, centered up on the 3 and gave him a little shove. Pop out, get your air in the corner here. So they had a big run going, and then his decision to pull out right there really killed it.
Let me ask you a question, though. Even with that, do you think that maybe they're thinking in the back of their mind it's way, way too early to do a bump-style draft or knock a guy to the front like that?
And maybe they are. Maybe they all talk before the race that, we don't want to see any of that for a while. And if they did, that's terrific. But I don't know about it, so I want to see it. So,
well, we are 52 in, and you're right. I mean, a lot of these guys have been very patient. It is a long way to go. You obviously do not want to, trash the car, wreck the guy in front. You see that run again, and it kind of just sputters out as they head off into the turn.
Yeah, but also to Harold's credit, he's doing what he can pretty much by himself. He doesn't have any help here behind, so he's trying to use the run that he gets to basically play catch-up. And so, depending on how much tape he's got, maybe he could be running a little hot or whatever. So, these guys on the top side need some help. But the other reason why I say, I want you to be aggressive and stay up front is if you're up front, then you have a really good shot of being out of trouble. And that's the biggest thing at this place is, you want to be in the top 2, 3, 4 positions and doing the right thing, giving your guy the push, get those runs, keep the momentum going to keep you up there so you don't end up falling to the back. We saw the 08 here, running up 3rd, 4th place. Now he's lost a couple positions. Anything could happen. Now this 45, if they dump him and all get in line, we're going to see him drop to the back, and now he's going to be in harm's way. So to me, I like to always be on the offensive here. If I'm behind the car, if I'm in front of you, I'm kind of on the defensive where I'm watching the mirror, holding a steady line, and I want you to push me, but I'm being defensive in the way that I don't want to create a 3-wide situation.
Got to watch right there, Ernie Ludwig's the guy that's behind the 45 machine. Just saw that. At what point does he go, you know what, maybe I can jump up there and help Brian out on the top side, or am I just content to sit here and ride for right now? I mean, I'm just watching him because he's a couple times he could have jumped up there.
Yeah, maybe it's just the fact that right now maybe he's trying to help, this 45. He's pretty happy with the spacing he's got right now. And again, for a lot of guys, it's just about maintain your position. You're in the top 5, 6, and you've got to pit again. So he's on the bottom. You got to pit again right now. Doesn't have anything to really freak out about. So, I'm a big fan of, if we can go to the front, by God, we're going to do it. And if I got to get on you and push you, then I'm going to get on you and push you. I don't care what lap it is, when it's going to be. I want to be up front as much as possible so that I can try to stay out of trouble.
There you go. Well, right now out front still Daniel Johnson. He's got a definitely good helper there, and Joshua behind him. Everybody, it's nose to tail for the top 4, and we just said Ernie, and you see Brian drop down on the inside. He squeezed that car in there, so maybe he's had enough of the top lane. We'll see if he can do anything down low.
Yeah, and honestly, you didn't have a choice there. We've been talking about it, lap after lap. He wasn't really getting anywhere, hanging out exactly where he ended up, pulling in that on the inside lane. But again, great job by those two up there, and Darner for what he was trying to do. They just don't have enough help up there. But something to keep in mind for later on in the races, who is a good pusher, who's helping out, whose car is faster in the draft, because these are open setup races. Maybe there's a guy whose car is better up front in front of everybody, and I'm way faster being behind you. That's information that you want to know. So maybe Darner's car is just not set up, to be a draft car.
And you're right. There you go. That's another key factor that we just normally we're so used to the fixed style race of what iRacing has and a fixed setup. But here they have their own setup. So like what you just mentioned, these guys definitely, it's all about how they have that car set up. Did they have it set up for a long run, short run, good draft, or so forth and so on. Out front, just looking kind of further back into the field here at about 22nd position. You see a 3-car freight train, kind of a breakup way back here in the back. Just an idea of the gap between. They're a good solid 5-6 seconds way off the pace from the leaders.
Yeah, I think it's a battle for 8th and 9th here. We got some guys up top that are doing their thing, but it's a 3-car battle between those guys, and you still got your guys riding around kind of in the back here, so trying to be patient. But the guys that running up top right now gonna need a lot more help, and I think these guys like Joshua Allen and the 84 here, George Angus, those guys are here by design, so they're not trying to really go anywhere right now.
No, they're not. Just being very patient. Again, Gustavo hanging out in the 23rd position. Just to give you an idea, got several cars back on the track here, and the cars that, not officially out of the race, but they're, we got one that's a lap down there. Bernie White still a lap down, 2 laps down. Rob Courtney, who was caught up in that, and then Rob Powers, he's 8 laps down. Like they are still running right now. So that's good. Everybody in that incident earlier on here still on the track.
Tell you what's interesting, looking at lap times, the 45 was the fastest car. Of course, being the 3rd car in line, getting those runs, but with a 46.58 to the leaders 46.63. And then these guys that are up on the top line ran a 46.74. So just pretty good speeds up front here, but amazing that him with the front end damage he's got able to still be that fast. But these big spoilers are helping him out a lot right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's maintaining too. I mean, we talk about it. I mean, folks are, realistically, like we said, even with the damage, when it's really going to hinder him is when he goes onto the outside. And that's really going to be the part that is. I mean, I'm not saying that he can't probably close that gap at any time. I mean, he might be holding it off, just maintaining that right there. But like you said, his lap times are holding with the leaders. Obviously, the front 2 guys are pretty much putting down some very fast times. That last time wasn't quite as quick. Ernie Ludwig and company behind him had a quicker time. But Draft plays a lot in those times too.
Yeah, it definitely does. On the 45 here, just eating the draft up, get a little space there and then get right back into it, find his way back up there again. The 14's doing a tremendous job here. Joshua Mertz of just sitting in second place right behind Daniel Johnson here, being very patient with him. And mainly just all they're trying to do is get space. Just stay in the draft here because they know if you get up there side by side, it's going to pull everybody behind you straight to you. So they're just trying to create as much space as possible here to get to that next round of pit stops here. The more space they got, all that equals time. So doing a great job here up front.
Absolutely. Single file for pretty much about all the way back to almost around 8th, 9th place. You got the top side guys. Robert Hayes right there hanging on to the 7th place spot. About bio things. Really kind of interesting on that too. Robert Hayes, AOD Racing from the United States. Bio says he's the first year in the major, so one of the rookies here and newcomers here for the major series in the sportsman class.
Right, doing a great job so far. He's in a good position. Car looks pretty clean. Just got to keep it that way.
Absolutely. And sometimes in a plate track race, we talk about keeping the car clean, and he's got that 007 machine out there. It looks, like I say, it looks really good. Non-sponsored out there, so there you go, John. Sponsored.
Yeah.
Well, anybody looking for a sponsor? Maybe I need to get up with him. Hey, name on the call. But you're right. Done an outstanding job. I mean, when you come to plate track races, Daytona and Talladega, they have brought about more first-time winners than probably any track in history. And, that's just brings about the excitement of plate track racing.
It does. It puts everybody on an even playing field, but that can create a lot of problems at the same time, as we saw today in the clash race. So, it's a lot of fun to watch. I was hoping that the real race today was going to be a lot of fun to watch. I didn't think it was all that terrific at the end, but it does create a lot of opportunity for guys. The problem is, and this is true in the virtual world and in the real world, it's like guys don't want to realize who the players are at the end. The guy in 10th place thinks, there's 2 or 3 laps to go. I can win this thing. Not understanding that you're not going to have anywhere to go. It really comes down to the top 4, 5, 6 cars. Those are the players. Unless you do something completely Dale Jr.-ish and make it 3 wide against the wall and just pull one out of your rear end. You've got to realize who the players are at the end of the race.
I'm with you on that. I mean, like you said, and you definitely got to have help here. I mean, a lot of guys, with this package, you're not going to jump out there and go blowing to the front of the field. You're going to need a lot of help, and at some point, the guy behind you is going to have to say, "Okay, I'm going to help you." If he's side by side up front and stuff. But you see, man, those top 3 cars coming to life. That's Mark McFadden. He's bringing that Ford Mustang to the front. He's got help with the 3 other cars, so he's doing what Brian couldn't do earlier. He's giving a run to the front here for the lead.
Yeah, McFadden's one of them. I've been riding along with these guys watching this run here that they continue to get lap after lap. Been getting a really good push by the 38 car. Marty's done a terrific job trying to help him get up here, maintaining his temperature at the same time and making that outside lane work. Now Darner's up there with him. As he's seeing that, these guys are making it work. I want to get with them. Being the 3rd car in line should make Darner faster himself. But you look at the 38 right up on the bumper, really giving him a push, and that's what you've got to do. That's what I was talking about.
Absolutely. He's right there, man. Right on the inside. That's Marty and that 38 machine. So he's right behind that car, Mark, as they are about to try to do a battle for the lead on the outside. So the outside lanes come to life here. That's still going to give it to Daniel as they cross the line just by a nose. But those 3 cars up top, they're showing that, hey, we got the muscle to bring this thing to the front.
Yeah, they do, and the thing that you're seeing here is just the accordion effect of the outside lane right now. they get the run, they catch up, and they get a little spaced out here. The 14 is sticking right with Daniel up front here, giving him a shove as he's doing right now. The 38, massive shove right here to the 9.
And that puts the man Mark out front. Is he going to stay with his dancing partner? No, we don't have enough room to go down low. But you're right. These two guys, they were able, actually the three machines up top, were able to show, hey, look, we could take the lead. And they did. So a good bump draft there by Marty. He was able to hang on to it and push that car to the front. Man, what a race so far.
And the 38's doing a tremendous job here, but just like I was saying, the accordion effect, they're back and forth on that outside lane. The 14 doing exactly what he needs to do, and that's just stick with Daniel here on that inside lane. Don't leave his bumper. Continue to do what you're doing, and you're going to maintain your position. There's no accordion effect with that because you're just staying there, maintaining. These guys are trying to get runs, and then they've got to decide, am I going to stick with this guy or am I going to go down to the inside? And at some point, you know, we've all got to pit again, so you're going to be getting down there anyway.
Yeah, there you go. And you just see, man, everybody being very, very patient, but still that outside lane rocking up top there along with Mark and the man Marty. So those two guys are bringing it. You got another machine there. It looks like Harold is up there along with them, too, as Daniel B. Johnson has his hands full now with three machines up top. And they're falling off a little bit, but we'll see if they get another run going down the backstretch.
Yeah, a lot of space created here between the leaders and the guys on the top lane here, but 38 got another good run here coming down the backstretch. Nothing to be competitive this lap. See if he can do it again the second lap here. Looks like he's been trying to get some air. They're backing off of each other a little bit, it looks like, so maybe looking for a hole, trying to get down, planning for pit stops or something here, but they're not really running close to each other. And what McFadden could do is drag the brake a little bit if he wanted to allow the 38 to catch up and give him a little bit more of a shove so they could be more competitive. But right now he's doing a great job kind of maintaining where he's at, but he's looking for a hole somewhere to get down so this entire inside line doesn't go past him here.
Absolutely. Out front still Daniel Johnson. Hey, if you like what you see out there, folks, man, hit a like and a share. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We're at the Daytona 500 here for the Major Series Sportsman's Class here tonight. Good race. Only had one caution so far earlier on. Took out about 4 or 5 cars. But everybody's still racing on the track, and you can see right now a couple pit stops. And you see, man, Mark up there, he came off of it. I think they're trying to get set up here to get down low. That high lane is because they understand that I think we've got green flag pit stops about to happen.
Yeah, they're not really getting any help up there, no takers. So everybody's pretty content with where they're at and saying, I'm not giving this spot up. So it's kind of like when you go to get off the airplane, you know, you've got your spot. You don't want to give it up to that old lady that wants to get by. It's the same thing.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
You know, you're trying to maintain your position here, keep that guy on the outside. You don't want these guys able to come down and pit. So we'll see what they're going to do here, getting a little bit more space here. Here are guys are peeling off now.
Oh, yeah, a bunch of them coming down pit road. Well, it's a madhouse scramble. But everybody makes it on pit road. Good. Now, we talked about that earlier. You got to come off turn 4. You're holding a lot of speed. Now, the one thing about this place is you do have a lot of runoff to slow down here, as opposed to some other tracks where it's just instantly right out of the turn. Boom, there you go. Here, it's not too bad.
Oh, and the 3 completely blows through his pit box.
Oh.
You're right. You've got plenty of room here coming down, you know, into that what I call the landing pad area, you know, to slow down. But then once you get through there, now you've got to get into your box. And when you're going from 200 miles an hour to 55, 65, and then you've got to come to a stop in that box, that's exactly what you could see as guys slide through the box there, locking up those brakes, because you're just never using the brake, really. So you don't know how it's going to feel the first time you get back to it.
Looks like also that's Brian Hollick to that 3 machine. Looks like he's got a penalty also.
They probably got one for speeding, or see if I can go back and.
Yeah, he's still on pit road though.
He's probably getting held.
Yeah. He is getting majorly held. That is going to be disastrous for him right there. especially on a green flag pit stop. He's going to come out here. Luckily, though, for him, he's going to come out with a little bit of help. Not going to have a lot of help, but still, that's almost going to put him a lap down. Wow, disastrous, because he was up front most of the race.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what the penalty is with that, because he, from what I could tell, he wasn't speeding coming in. So he was at 59 at the line, and it speed limit is 60. So unless it got him for going out past the line where the green cone is and then backing up onto pit road, may have like an unsafe pit exit or something like that. So.
And that's true, like I said, because he does have the #1 pit stall there, and definitely spun right through it. So disaster here. These guys are going to freight train him. He's definitely going to get the tail end of the draft off a lot of those guys there. Going to help him out a little bit, but man, devastating for him. Yep, he went a lap down. The good thing is, though, he would have the lucky dog if there was a caution come out.
Yeah, he'll be able to get in the draft with these guys. He's got a competitive car, and if they get another caution, get that lucky dog, get back around there. Lucky for him, it's still early on in this race. We're 74 laps into a 200-lap race.
Oh, absolutely. Still got a lot of stuff here happening. We're not halfway through in it. You're right, 74, 200. Biggest thing about green flag pit stops, it does split the field up. You see a lot of guys up front here. The top 6 guys all out front. Then you go back to 7th place, Robert Hayes. We were talking about him, excuse me. He's back in 7th. He's about 3.5 seconds behind the leader. And off that pack, there are 2 cars now. Obviously, the pack behind them, we're going to run them down here pretty soon and run them down pretty fast. Also, it'll be interesting to see what Harold does when he runs up on them. Does he slow up and just stay behind them, or does he keep going and try to blow them by them? I would personally probably just stay behind them, get those 2 cars going, get us a big pack so we can run, but that looks like that's what he's going to do.
It's always the opposite, isn't it?
It is. Well, it would have kept the momentum of the freight train, because now he only has 2 up to high, and look, the other ones don't go, and you're going to pay the price. Only way, in the old package, yes, that move would have worked. He would have passed those 2 cars, no problem. With this package...
Oh, we got a wreck.
Oh, caution. Dude, let's go back and see what happened here. Nolan involved in this one, and that happened up front. Oh, yeah, 2 cars involved. Luckily, it happened behind the leaders, but it looked like Nolan just got... Oh, and then it looks like several other cars came in afterwards, though, behind it. See what happens here. Oh, right into it. What's up, Joshua? How you doing? He's in the middle of the pack, and then here comes a slew of other cars. Do they all make it through? Yeah, they do. Wow.
Yeah, luckily there, Nolan kept it in a position. We had a little bit of a slap fest right here. Let's see, who is this? The 18. Where did he go? Yeah, 18 went up a little bit, slapped the 598. So just a little door right there, not intentional, but trying to get back. The 18. Josh. Josh.
Josh Moak. Gotcha. Back in the back there. But, I mean, you're right. And it's just typical plate track racing. How you doing out there, Joshua? How are you, man? Well, I mean, under caution again here. And they just took a pit stop. So, do you go on pit road?
I think you can if you want to. I mean, obviously, if the leader comes, everybody's going to come. But you don't necessarily have to. I'd go on to do it. I'd at least take 2 tires.
Okay. Absolutely.
But especially some of these guys are going to have to. They got to get some of this damage fixed here. If I was the 58, Stephen Paulson, I'd definitely come to pit road. I don't know if he's gotten all his damage fixed. Maybe he has. But, get yourself some tires and some fuel here. You really got nothing to lose if you're, in the outside the top 5 here.
Well,
see Brian Howlett.
Brian
ended up getting his lap back.
Yeah, and he might as well just jump in the pits because he's going to be at the tail end anyways. I mean, guys like that, I'm with you, John. If you're probably 15th, 20th, on back somewhere in that position, why not come into the pits? But obviously, if you're out front, I don't know.
Yeah, it worked out great for the 3 of Brian Halleck too, for that to happen when it did, because just 3 laps before that, he had a little miscue here. Let's see if he hits his box right. Does everything right this time coming in. So it's something he'll be keeping in mind, from now on when staying out and getting to run on those tires. And I wonder what their tire wear is like, with these open setups versus the fixed sets. I know in the fixed sets we don't see very much wear, so you hardly ever change tires at all.
Well, let me ask you a question though. You say that, and that is a good, very, very question. A lot of fixed though, we don't run 200 laps in. So in a 200 lap race,
Yeah, that's true.
well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the, we're so used to what 80, 90, 100 lap races, which is kind of the norm that myself and I know you run a lot of them are used to. This being a full Daytona, even in a fixed style setup, unless you run a lot of the NIS races of iRacing, which are full style races. In that sense, then unless they were running 100% fuel, yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one. Usually tire wear wouldn't be a factor because you could take 2 tires throughout the race, which is kind of how I feel on plate tracks. But again, setups here with open setups, I'm with you. What is it? We did see that high lane coming in. Let me throw this out here to you, John. And I know you like the technical side of things. We saw Daniel Johnson out front for so long, and then we saw Mark and Marty and them coming to the front. Maybe that was the difference in a long run car that actually just came to life and saved those tires.
Yeah, it very well could be in the setup, for that to happen. And everybody's got different pressures, how the car is going to do, the wear, you know, all of that. Suspension matters. That the camber that you run matters so much more at a track like this, probably than anywhere else. You go to Daytona, Talladega, every little thing that you do is going to create a, a big difference in the car. I don't think there's any small thing that you do that creates a small difference when it comes to super speedway race. So, whether it plays off in the long run or the short run, does matter. And we see that all the time, even in real life, where guys are going to have the short run speed, not the long run speed, or they're a better drafting car, not a better out front car. So you're going to have the same thing here. But I'm just wondering, with what these guys do, the pressures as the track changes, especially if you're on the inside lane, the outside lane, what's up with the tires? Because if it comes down to pit strategy, can you take no tires?
That's true. Everybody took 4 tires early on. Now, here's going to be interesting. We've been talking about it this past. Lucas is going to start in second. That's going to put him on either the outside or inside lane. Wow. Because it's going to put him without somebody in front of him. Now we're going to see if that damage really, really does hinder him. And whatever, whoever's behind him looks like it's going to be in a high lane. If it really hinders that high lane at any getting going.
Yeah, and I think that it will, and I think the guys on the inside lane will work itself out. But the other thing is, we all know we're not morons. At least I don't think so.
Nah.
That this is the virtual world, so there are times on iRacing where you'll see damage, but we've actually pitted and gotten that damage fixed somewhat, and so the car does react better. So, maybe we'll see a difference with them being up front, and it's just visual to us, and it's not really doing anything. But I think that we've seen a little bit of hindrance there. I think that he's going to be better in the draft than being out front.
Well, time will tell as we're getting set to go back green flag here at Daytona. For the Daytona 500, the major series Sportsman Class here. Tonight, Daniel Johnson's going to lead them to the line as we second caution here tonight. So it's actually been a fairly, really very good race. A lot of patient driving going on. Seen some green flag stops. We've seen a lot of side-by-side racing. A lot of interesting things happening up here, showcasing a lot of these great drivers. Here we go, getting set to go back green flag here tonight. Well, I'm with you. I'm kind of interested to see if that car is going to hang on.
Yeah, I think it's going to answer itself here. Obviously, he'll get a little help for a little bit, but I think the inside lane is going to prevail, and they're going to have to figure out what to do. And we're almost, almost to the halfway point here. So this is where I throw in some Copenhagen and enjoy this race.
Absolutely. There we go. Pace cars in. We're going green flag. Daniel drops the hammer. Don't want to get too far out. They'll come freight train him around. And I believe we pretty much answered our question there. As you see, Lucas just does not get up to speed. It just cannot go. I mean, the car can't. But, boy, Daniel got a huge jump. I don't know about that right there because that inside lane's going to run him down fast. And nobody stays up top with Lucas. Everybody goes down low. You see him dropping like a rock in water right now as they are coming up. Ernie Ludwig, is he going to try to dive to the outside and make a pass, or are they just going to stay tucked up behind Daniel? Looks like right now it's nose to tail for the top three guys. Everybody is single file down low. And Ludwig up there, Lucas up top with that damage is hindering him just a little bit there. I don't think the cars, he's going to have to get down low, I believe, behind somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like we said, he's going to be much better in the draft here. And I tell you the thing I was surprised to see was the second and third place cars basically say, all right, we want to be second and third. They could have easily gone to the outside and, taken the top spot here. So they had a massive run. Again, the leader just took off. Daniel did on that restart instead of letting somebody be right on the rear end of him. And then if you have a restart at the end of this race, you're going to be a sitting duck if you do that.
Absolutely. Everybody's single file, tucked up front here, just being very, very patient. You got to kind of go all the way back to about 9th spot before you get side-by-side racing. And up high, looks like one car's just stuck and almost to the line back there. Like Gustavo and company back there along with Mark. Man, that was close. That was close right there.
Yeah, I think right now we're lap 83. We're getting to the halfway point. We're going to see some guys, be patient up front. I'll be interested to see what the guys that are like the mid pack here are going to do. If they want to try to get up front here and, ruffle any feathers a little bit. I like Harold Darner's going back to the top side, trying to get some help to get up there. No, not going to get any here, so he's going to have to fall back in line here, running in the 11th spot right now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Matt just left him out to dry. Matt was up there for a moment, then Harold went up there to try to help him, and Matt said, whoop, went right down below and stayed low. And I think they saw earlier that high lane's going to need a lot of help. Again, we're coming up on halfway in this one. Lap 84 here, 200 tonight. Good race so far. A lot of guys being very, very patient. We've only had 2 cautions in this one. Not a really huge big one at that. The last caution just was a 2-car incident. Before that, the first one was only about 3 or 4 machines. So have yet to see the huge big one. But again, well, these guys being patient. So that's the key word.
I'd much rather them be patient right now because we've got a long way to go. There's no sense in doing crazy things. You want to do what you can to, get your space here to the rest of the field. So if you can shove a guy and just keep constantly chipping away, and, even if you get up to, a tenth of a second, that's a track like this, that's a lot of time. But you see in the back of the pack, the 69 of Matt Gelder continue to get a massive run every time they come off of 2 going down the backstretch there, and they're not really taking advantage of it. There are some cars that should be going with him and going to the top side here and using that to their advantage to play catch up here, and they're just not doing it. They're just content running on the bottom, and I get it. I'd like to see some guys get up there and put some pressure on these guys up front and see what they've got, so then they'll know, comes down to the end of the race, what do we need to have? What do we need to work on? And here we go again, one car going up to the top side, and this 69 car needs to go with him.
Yeah, you're right there. He is trying to go up there to see if he can bring a freight train back to the front. We saw it earlier, but it's going to take some work here. And here comes the 99. That's a car we saw earlier, Mark Stevenson, who definitely brought that freight train to the front, and he's going to get help. So there's 3 cars forming up top. we'll see if those guys can actually hammer down and bring it back there to the front side.
And we saw McFadden and the 38 car earlier really work their way to the front here on this high side. Look to see them do the same thing again. McFadden here is doing a great job going to the top side. Now I think we see that 69 car, I believe it's him, going up to the top side there. So maybe this top lane is going to form up a little bit. And you've got McFadden behind you, and McFadden's a name that I know, so I know he knows what he's doing. So he's just going to put some pressure on these guys and make them go.
Absolutely, as you see the three machines up top right there, and you got another two behind them. So we're starting to see a line form up high. Let's see if it's going to bring it up here and challenge that man out front, Daniel Johnson, who has locked it down for most of the race here tonight. But again, back there in the back, keep your eye on it. That top lane's forming up. They got about 6 machines. It'll take them about several laps to get, going. But I got a feeling if they stay where they are, stay committed, and not sure the 99, he drops low though.
Yeah, and I know exactly he didn't like what he was seeing, and I know that because I didn't like what I was seeing. So I would have done the same thing. But now the problem is the inside lane jacks up. The 38's all over the apron in front of him, so now he's losing more positions here. So now he's got a decision to make on where to go again. And it can change that fast. You see something that you don't like. I think McFadden thought these guys are not really putting the pressure on. We're not going to be able to draft well to get up there. Let me get with these guys. And then that happened. Now he gets a big run here.
Yeah, and jumps right back up to the top lane. I think that's the safest place to go. They're just not right now. They're just, fanning out a little bit. You see them jockeying around, not getting up there, close enough, like you said, and closing in those gaps enough. Now, they are marching to the front, though. Slowly but surely, that high lane is coming to the front side.
And they can. And I like the outside lane because you're showing guys, I know what I'm doing, or you're the guy doing the pushing. I know how to push you. They know other guys get confidence, and they come up there too. They see, hey, this outside lane's forming up, and here they come. And it makes more people want to be a part of it. So it's kind of like your little high school clique. Like right now, those are the cool guys. So I'm going to go with them for a minute until they're not cool anymore.
Good way to put it. I like that. So the cool guys up top, forming it up. Man, they got their own freight train happening. You got Harold right there looking good. He's helping with a push behind them. But we'll have to see if they're able to get up there and give a challenge to Daniel Johnson, who is, like I said, with Ernie Ludwig, those three machines. You got Joshua and Gary Nichols. All those guys nose to tail up front there. They don't feel any pressure, but if they look at their relative in the rear view, slowly but surely, that high lane is getting more travelers up there and getting more baggage, so to speak, and they're bringing it to the front side.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I like what I'm seeing out of right now, the top lane here starting to form up. McFadden playing catch up a little bit here. If they could close these gaps up and really get up on each other, they will be faster than some of the guys on this inside lane. They'll find themselves up front here. Then the problem is you got to start shaking out who's the faster guy in the draft and who belongs where. Maybe one of these cars is a faster drafting car. I think the 38 has shown a lot of speed when he's behind somebody. McFadden's shown a lot of speed behind another car. But, how are they going to do out in front by themselves versus how they do behind another car? And at some point in the race, you have to decide where you belong. Right there, in that moment, where do you belong in this race? If it's behind somebody pushing them, then just do that.
Absolutely. You see, we're riding along here with Zachary Brown, who is a third car in that top lane right now. You can see he's getting a good run. You see that machine in front of him just all over the place, wiggles just a little bit, so he's got to be very careful not to get up there and kind of hook the back bumper of him. Very easy to do if you get a good run down this back stretch. Kind of maintains right there. As long as he stays hooked up, I'm going to say dead even with him and don't pull out, they're going to get a run, but they're kind of stalled out right there where they're at.
Yeah, they're stalled out just a little bit here, and there's a little trick to these Cup cars when it comes to drafting, and I'm not going to give it away and tell anybody, but if I see somebody...
Throw some knowledge on us here, John. Come on.
I'm telling you, there's a way to draft in this Cup car. You will catch the guy. You will catch the air the way you're supposed to, and that is go to the right rear corner put the center of your car on the right rear corner of that spoiler, then tuck yourself straight behind that guy, and you will find yourself catching the guy in the cup car. And it's because the right side of the car is completely straight. The left side, the right rear quarter, has that bend in it. So it actually pulls that air around and onto your nose. If you go to the right side there, that spoiler is actually sticking out more, so it creates the air to go up and over your car.
Huh. I'll tell you what, there I learned something new. Hey, that's awesome, man, to hear. Now, would that still apply even on an open style setup like this?
It applies to anything because you can't do anything with the spoiler. The only thing you can do is your ride heights. The spoiler's still going to react the same, and on these cars, the spoiler is more to the right of the car than it is to the left. And so it does create, if you watch even in wind tunnels, it does keep the air off of the nose of the car, so you can still be faster, and catch that guy. And you do that by going to the right rear quarter.
Absolutely. Well, they got a huge line up top forming. We'll see. They're very close to coming up here to take the lead and battle it out here with Brian Johnson. But that's interesting to hear. I like that kind of insight there. And the drivers out there going, well, there we go. Just got a good tip. Right now, man, you see now you got a whole slew of machines up top. It's 2x2x2. It's only looking like the top 3 or 4 cars are single file, but in a minute they're going to have company.
Yeah, I like what the outside lane is doing here. They're getting formed up really nicely. You got the top 3 right there with each other. Got a 4th one in line. You got McFadden. The 38 keeps falling off. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose or, he gets these runs and then he falls back and he comes back again. And I understand right now the track is just kind of clogged. There's nowhere for him to go, so maybe he's just being patient. The competitor in me says get up there and shove that 99 and let's go. Get everybody going and let's see what happens.
Well, he is staying right there, kind of a stalemate. I don't know if that's by design or whatnot, but I think with the amount of machines he has up top, he should be able to get up there and challenge it out there with Brian, especially with the 3 cars with the gap they got. And you can see the high lane down the backstretch. They have definitely got a motor run, and they got a good run heading into turn 3. But then it seems like that car behind the 35 machine, I believe it's 35 up there on top, just kind of feathers out, and that kills their momentum coming out of the turn.
Yeah, and what they're doing, he's ducking out to get air, but he's ducking out to get air in the wrong spots. Like right here's where you want to do it through the curve section of the front stretch there. Right here where it's straight, you want to be tucked behind a guy. Going into the corner, duck out, get you some air. And from center off, be back on that guy again. And if you're going to catch any air, do it on the exit. And then that way, before you hit halfway the backstretch, get right back behind that guy again, and you'll get those runs. And it's just he's ducking out and catching air, trying to keep it cool, but he's just doing it in places where he needs to be the drafter and actually helping the line.
Absolutely. I mean, how much nerves are here too, or maybe the little jitters there from Harold. He doesn't want to get up there, give a bump, and obviously cause a wreck this early into the race. I mean, we're heading on about halfway here. I mean, I know that has to play in the back of his mind. Right now we're just kind of cruising, we're riding, and I think he knows that we've got fast machines up top, and we're already seeing they can bring it to the front. I know guys behind them probably are frustrated, like, hey, like what you just said, it's go time, let's go.
Yeah, I would unfortunately be one of those guys that's getting frustrated because I want to try to get to the front and see what's going on. But also, I like to show people, like, I'm one of these, I want to go. I can lead and hold the line, or I can push you. Whatever you want to do, but let's go. Let's get to the front. But I like what we're seeing here. Darner gets a little bit closer to him. And some of it is just, trial and error for these guys. A lot of these guys, as we said earlier, don't have a lot of oval racing experience. I'm not sure how much some of these guys here have. So maybe they're just not used to this style of racing. And that's okay. You have to, just like we don't know a lot about, road course racing. So we learn as we go too. So these guys are doing the same thing, but doing a great job. And you can tell some of these guys are getting more comfortable, and they're getting a little closer to that car, a little bit closer, picking it up here. Darner doing exactly what I was talking about now, going down the backstretch on that right rear of the 69 car of Gelder, who's doing a tremendous job holding a straight line, which is exactly what the lead car needs to do.
And I think, the more communication they do throughout the race here, and as it goes, as we're going to cross over the halfway, as they cross the line this time by, man, it's going to lead it. Daniel Johnson right here. He leads the first 100 of it here tonight at Daytona as they go past some lap traffic here. Here's where it gets really, really sketchy. Got to be very careful going around that lap traffic. You're side by side there. Don't want to very easily to get touched and hit up into the wall. And whew, I'm already right there just bouncing around. But you're right. As the race goes on, they're definitely going to get a lot comfortable up top there. And, like I said, we're not sure how much a lot of these guys run oval style things. A lot of the guys here in the major series, they'll admit they run a lot of road courses, not a lot of oval style stuff. But again, they're coming out here, Daytona. You got to have trust in your machine. You got to have trust in yourself, basically, to know that you've been able to pull those moves off. And, hey, doing an outstanding job so far.
Doing great there. And we saw going down that front stretch at the last lap, trying to get around some of that lap traffic there, the 69 and the 08 made a little bit of contact. There was some net code in there, which is always a problem at super speedway races too. So if any of the guys are racing or got a spotter that's listening to the broadcast, tell them to be very careful, because net code has played a factor twice tonight, and we almost had a wreck right there between those two. But the 08 did a tremendous job holding on to the car there.
Absolutely. Very impressive. Lucas is hanging on the ninth place spot. He was able to get down low, and that's where he needs to be, tucked up in a middle lane. But you still have got side-by-side racing in the middle of the pack here. Nice one. Well, I can go down. There you go. It cuts off. I can actually set it up the ticker to show Justin Field where they're at. You got a favorite driver out there, let me know. I mean, I'll definitely find him for you and show you where he's at here on the track. Problem what it is, if I actually put 25 cars, the ticker go from the top all the way to the bottom, so I got to cut it somewhere.
Yeah, then you have half the screen taken up with
standing.
And people are like, there's too many graphics.
Yeah, too much stuff going on and too much stuff. But I mean, obviously, yeah. And I think y'all said somebody's out there cheering for, I'm going to hope I say his last name right, Dearburn. If I said that right. Chris. Right now, he is out on the track. There you go. Give you a good shot. There you go. Hey, Rashid. Well, hey, Rashad, there you go. Hey, hit it off for you there. He's back in 19th spot right now. Very good. Actually, we did a really good close-up of what his car looks like. Got that Havlin job out there. Shows him as the number 128, but obviously iRacing's showing him in number 28 car. I don't know what comes it kind of off like that with the screen. iRacing shows and the numbers and so forth, but it's like Chris right now just kind of riding in the back. He's content to just kind of ride.
And he's been doing that the whole race. He started back there, I think, about 21st. Chris Sherburne's one of the guys. He knows what he's doing here on the oval racing side. So just trying to stay out of trouble, and he understands, we've still got a long way. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm glad, because I don't know who he is.
Yeah, I remember names pretty well. It doesn't mean anybody ever did anything bad to me. Just some names stick out.
Well, and again, you obviously do a lot of oval racing. Well, folks, broadcasting is what I do on iRacing. This is all I do. I don't race anymore. Obviously, I don't even have my wheel hooked up anymore. That thing's in the closet now. But John, he definitely has his whole setup. He definitely races in a lot of leagues and a lot of officials, so he knows a lot. Might run across a lot of the guys' names out here, and that's cool. Chris has definitely got, he's still got all his fenders, a clean machine, and he's back there, got a lot of help. So it's not uncommon to definitely see a guy like just sitting back there.
Yeah, and there's still strategy here that could play out at the end of this race that these guys know, if it stays green, this is what we're going to do. So we could see a total shakeup here. Anything could happen. But, right now, this outside lane, unfortunately, isn't working like it was working earlier. They're starting to lose these positions to the inside lane. It's formed up a little.
Yeah, they just didn't. I don't think they stayed committed like they should have up top. Everybody's going to drop it down low again with an open style setup. With a fixed setup, I believe we would have seen that outside lane already been up there battling for the lead. with open style setups, it's going to be a lot different. And I think that's what we're seeing here. After a while, the high lane just kind of fizzles without a lot of help. Still, Daniel Johnson's the man out front with the Ernie Ludwig right there behind him. They got a whole freight train behind him, nose to tail. Again, we're past halfway in this one. The first half of the race tonight was a very good one. Brought out, 3 cautions earlier on, so not bad.
Yeah, I mean, really, that one wreck that we had was kind of a net code deal, but we know let the leagues and the admins and people call that however they call it, but that's what I saw anyway, and we'll always have a problem with that. I know we did a race the other night at Daytona and kind of had some issues with that, so you try to give each other some room and side draft as best you can without wrecking a guy, but you always have those 1 or 2 guys that don't believe in net code and don't care.
Oh, absolutely. Right now, very good race going on. And again, folks, if y'all want to check out, this is the major series, and they have more than one race going on right now. GSRC has the Top Split Pro Series happening. Now, they have other series that are running. They actually have a second split Sportsman. They have a second split Pro. Those, from my understanding, not being broadcasted, though. As my understanding, this is the Top Split Sportsman Series here. So, many different classes. If you're interested, check them out at the pacificmajors.com. The link should be in the description down there. Check those guys out for all the information for the major series, the schedule for their series, because they do full course style races. We will actually have a full Indy 500 race, a full Coca-Cola 600 race. Looking kind of forward to that one there, John. That one would be kind of fun. As opposed to a lot of other full-size 2.5, 3 hour style road races also throughout the whole year here of 2020. So it's going to be interesting with these Sportsman guys to watch them. We already had a 2.4 hours of Daytona. Check that out on the channel of OSR Network. Appreciate Mike and company here at the majors and all the guys here for the Sportsman, everybody tuning in. So definitely check us out at OSR Network on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter. I call it Tweeter, but you can check us out on that. I just say Tweeter for some reason. But it's been a good race, and like again, majors, they do some of the best style racing. They do have top splits all the way down. This is their Sportsman Series, so awesome.
Yeah, looks like half of these guys are running up front, peeling off for pit stops. Oh, and we get one that gets turned around up front. We got a big wreck going in.
I see it happening in front of us, and that looks like Joshua in the 14.
The leaders.
Well, Tony, let me then rephrase. The man at halfway that was leading was Daniel Johnson. So he led lap 99 and he led lap 100. How's that? So he did lead the halfway point.
Then he gets turned going on the pit road by the 16, who just overcooked his entry here and got him in the right rear.
Oh.
Put Daniel out in the grass, put the 08 into the 14 into the wall.
So some hiccups on pit road, and that's what we talk about when you have green flag pit stops. A lot of times these guys trying to woe down, and a lot of guys come flying into pit road. Disaster can happen very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's where communication, plays a big key in this, whether it's virtual or real world. Is you want to try to let the guys know, I'm going to take the inside lane. You stagger your entry, and looked like the 16 was just trying to stick right with the with Daniel Johnson's car there and just really overcooked it coming in, just way too hot. So Johnson's going to have to make something happen here and start pushing these guys in this draft, as we're going to have the rest of the field's going to start coming down pit road. But could play really good for guys like Sherburne, like we were talking about, and like McFadden, who's also shown a lot of speed himself. So might see a little shakeup here in this race because of that one incident.
Absolutely. Good one right here. Is, like I said, more pit stops underway. Zachary Brown's on pit road for the moment. Gustavo still out there along with Mark Stevenson. Daniel Davis out front. Robert there. So they have yet to make their pit stops. That should cycle around here, though. Cycle back to Joshua Allen, maybe, and Lucas. Gonna cycle around to those being out front.
Yeah, it looks like it might do that. Mine's trying to play catch up here.
Yeah, I'm just looking, but I here's the problem. Joshua definitely is good. Lucas right there tucked up on their back end. They got a freight train of cars there with Marco, Matt, I'm gonna hope I say his last name, Gilder right there, and Daniel Johnson did not lose too much. He is he came in the leader, obviously getting spun up there. He is up high there in 11th place spot to see when they're going to catch these cars like nothing. That's going to put Daniel back up there. He's got, looks like Matt in that 35 machine, though. Matt was right there up high. Yeah, they're just going to blow right by those lower style cars.
Yeah, I think right now we've got some of the fastest cars drafting with each other here, and Daniel being behind Matt Gelder here is really going to be a big help to 58. We saw him earlier getting a lot of good runs here. So fast cars. Now Daniel's looking to the outside, looking to make it 3 wide. He's still right there on the quarter. Now he decides to back off and go back.
Was that a smart move right there, trying to make it 3 wide? I know he's fast. I know he wants to lead. He's led most of this race tonight, but at this point right now, you still got to be patient. Got a long way to go.
That's the best thing he could have done, was backed out of it there. Wasn't going to have any help. I mean, if you're going to make that move, then the other guy right behind you's got to go with you, and then you're committed. And he kind of saw the 58 just kind of hanging back like, how's this going to work out? So he wasn't going to be able to do anything by himself.
Oh, absolutely. And up top, man, they were able to stalemate. Whoa, his dancing partner left him out to dry. Right there, Matt did. Matt went down low, and here comes Daniel Johnson up high. He's got help. It's a battle, not for the lead. It's still Gustavo out front in this one here leading it, but this would probably be the lead as soon as everybody cycles around for pit stops. So will Daniel Johnson try to drop down? Will he get help up high? He's got about 3 machines there, but remember we saw earlier, it took a lot of cars to go by him up top.
Yeah, and I think that's why we saw Matt go to the bottom. Now, he knows that Daniel's fast. Daniel's putting a ton of pressure on him, really, on the back bumper. Maybe he wasn't comfortable with it, and he just says, if I go to the bottom, you're going to need at least 2 to 3 cars lined up behind you to come up here and get a...
Interesting fact here, Gustavo has made 3 pit stops. Got to look, a lot of these guys right there, like Matt back there has made 3. Zachary's made 4. Robert Nim's made 4. But he has Mark Stevenson behind him, who has made 5 pit stops in this whole thing. So he's made a lot of pit stops throughout here. Probably taking advantage of a lot of times when they were under those cautions there and so forth and so on. Yeah, right now, Davo out front in this one, locking it down.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of guys coming down pit road a couple times during caution to get some damage fixed, maybe top off their fuel here. 3 wide going through here. Everybody.
Sorry about that, John. But yeah, he's on pit road. Gustavo is right now. Now he had almost about a 35-second lead over those this pack back here with Matt.
It's going to take some help for him to get back up there.
Absolutely. Here we go. As they come across the line, that pack we were talking about earlier, that leaves Mark Stevenson out there 3 seconds in front of this freight train that is about to happen and go probably, when they catch him, they're going to just go blow right by him. Now, he has a couple lap cars there with him, helping him. But Mark out front, this one just will not. Now, he'll probably catch the back end of this tail end of this. So, the problem is here that I see with Mark Stevenson, yes, he's hooked up with about 2 other lap cars. When that pack catches them, Will they be able to go around all those cars there? That's going to be the interesting one because they're side by side, and this could get very dicey when they catch those three machines up there.
Yeah, it will be. Hopefully what they don't try to do is make it too wide and clog up the track here, because right now this pack of Johnson and these guys that are really hauling the mail right now, they're 7/10 faster than the guys.
Yes, they are. Watch the last lap times. You're right. They're a good, solid run. 7/10. So they are definitely gaining. The problem is they are side glued door to door up front. Matt's there along with Joshua and Zachary and Daniel Johnson up high. Mark Stevenson, though, leading this one. 4 cars up there in the front. Actually, 3 machines now. It's going to get interesting when that pack actually catches them, because they're going to catch lap traffic and they're going to catch them. What do you do if you're Matt and company there? What do you do if you're up high with Johnson and them? I mean, you don't want to give up the track position where you're at right now.
You know, and that's why you see Johnson, these guys right now still working, pushing very hard. They want to try to get up front here and maybe single file this out. So when they catch those guys, you know, they're not already too wide, because you're going to create a 3-wide situation, or somebody's going to have to lift. And then it comes down to, it's basically a game of chicken, is who's going to be the one to give.
Absolutely, you know, and that's usually when we talk about the big ones happen, as they cross the pack, crosses the line. That gap is growing even skinnier here. It's still about 4.5 seconds. Let's watch and see if they actually make up, how much time they are actually making up on it, because at 4 seconds, it will take them a while to run down Mark Stevenson. The good thing about Mark is he does have help up there. If he was down there sitting by himself, and he definitely has a very good helper there in the 53 machine behind him. But, Mark Stevenson too. He's tucked up behind another machine there in front of him. My bad. But he has 2 other cars behind him, so it is a 4-car draft. That's helping him out tremendously right now.
It is, and he's going to have to keep doing what he's doing, and that's just stay tucked up under the car that's in front of him and hope that the guys behind him stick with him and just continue to do the same thing, because right now he ran a 46.48.
You know, I'm watching a gap between them here, John.
46.45.
Yeah. I'm just noticing the gap here. It was 4.56 last time. It's still maintaining about 4.6. But it looks like that big pack back there is kind of leveled off a little bit, and those 4 cars up there kind of got in a single file. Maybe this 2x2 racing back here is kind of hurting their progression some.
It definitely is going to hurt you in the long run. I think they've made up all they can with what they got coming off pit road. And the only way these guys are going to get up there is they've got to find a way to get single file, because the guys up front have found out, you know, if we stick together, we can make this kind of level off, you know, and keep these guys behind us to where they can't catch us. They're running even though they're running too wide, nose to tail, it does not help them. They've got to get single file so they can go faster.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, now they did gain a little bit right there. It dropped from 4.6 to 4.1 seconds, so they are making up some time on those 4 machines. You still see the battle for the, I'm not saying for the lead, but it's actually back behind for second place here. Matt down low, and he's got up top. That's a man right there. Looks like Joshua Allen, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Actually, Zachary Brown, up top, takes it to the front side for second place, because Mark Stevenson's out front by himself with a couple machines. They are gaining on him. They've dropped it down to 3.7, so they are chunking away at that lead up there.
And right now it's Daniel Johnson doing all the pushing right here on Zachary Brown's car up top. 18, that last lap there, he touched the apron a little bit, got a little squirrely. Now you see Johnson really shove Brown going down the backstretch here. He's looking to the outside. He's not going to get any help here. And he's trying to pinch him down here. So this is not going to help these guys racing like this. This is not going to help you catch the leader up there.
I tell you what, from past, it looks like Daniel Johnson's got a very, very good pull-style car out front. And he knows that if he can get out there, he probably can pull this pack up there. But they are gaining. Well, they're back to 4.1 seconds, because I think that racing they did there actually hurt them. They were under 3 seconds Now they're back to 4.1 seconds on that pack up front with Mark Stevenson and company.
Yeah, Brown went down to try to side draft and kind of created a little tense situation there. Johnson had to back out of it a little bit, but I mean, we know these guys are going to have to pit again. And then the problem Stevenson's going to have is he on any cycle with the help that he's got? So even if he maintains this gap, him coming to pit road, is he going to be coming by himself or is he going to have help? These guys, we know they're going to have help. They're going to be coming together.
Well, I think at this point, if he can get communication of what those guys behind him might be doing, they are close enough that he definitely would have a lot of help if he can stay out front in that lead. Obviously, a caution or whatnot. He is maintaining the 4.1 seconds because it is a duel happening behind him for second place. Matt is hanging on to it right now, but up high, Zachary Brown has given everything he possibly can. He's got Daniel Johnson behind him, pushing him for everything he's got. So we'll have to see what's going to happen up front here for the second place run, but they are still 2 by 2 by 2, and we're at lap 125 here, John. You can already start to feel a little bit. I think these guys are getting very comfortable with the cars, what they can do throughout the race, getting a little bit more racier up front here.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys were involved with that incident coming to pit road, so they lost some time, and that's what we see here. The difference is the time that was lost on pit road. So guys like Johnson that have a fast car, want to make up as much time as he can. That's why you see he's not going to give up here on shoving Brown as much as he can. You even see a little damage to the back of Brown's bumper from getting shoved so much by Johnson here.
Absolutely. Got Mark Stevenson out front still. 3 cars nose to tail. He's got help right there. Not the 4 cars, but you already see up top now Matt pulls away a little bit. He's got Joshua right there behind him as they lose it. And Johnson drops down low. He's had enough of the high side. He's going to sit. Now if they form up in a single file, I feel like that low lane should be able to run down Mark and him up front.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to stay side by side here. Single file instead of side by side. And you see that Johnson went back to the inside there. He kind of got a little frustrated being on that outside lane. He wasn't getting a lot of help. Saw the inside starting to form up and knowing they need to be single file here. So Stevenson's up there. There's not as many cars up there. If they stay single file, then they should be able to run them down here over a matter of time.
Absolutely. Right there, Matt, he's down low. He's got 3 cars. If they can actually, obviously get hooked up. He's got, Matt right there along with Joshua. Like, they got Daniel Johnson there behind him too, it looks like. So those 3 or 4 machines down low for second place, it won't take long because now they're down to 2.3 seconds. They are running, 2.4 seconds. They are running down the top guy, Mark Stevenson, and those 4 machines. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen when they catch them.
Yeah, this is the second time now. The 16, trying to help Johnson. Of course, they're teammates, so they're trying to help each other. But both times they both pulled out of lane to go to the high side. The 16 went first. Then Johnson slowed that line down. So, obviously, they're getting together for a reason because they're teammates. So we're going to see how that works out for these guys, and hopefully the 16 can help push Johnson up to the front here.
And so far, Mark is hanging on to it. He's got about 4 machines right there, nose to tail. That 2 right there will cause a problem even for Matt, because when he catches that pack there, he's got a decision. They're not going to give up that low line there, Mark and those 4 cars up front. They're going to stay down low. So does Matt take the momentum that he's going to, get off the back end of the draft, and does he shoot up? And the thing about it is, does anybody come with him there?
If you're behind him and he goes to the high side, you're definitely going to go with him. You're going to be picking a draft off of that group of cars right there. They should start getting into that draft now and start playing a factor here, probably going into 3. And I think you'll see him swing to the high side. So unless somebody throws a block and makes them all stop, and that's the other part about it, is when you throw a block, you're not guaranteeing anything. The only thing that you're guaranteeing is you're putting the other guy in a bad position. He's got to decide to lift or get around you, as we see him now going to that high side.
There he goes now. Mark's going to have a decision. Does he go up there and try to make a block? and help him come to the front. If not, they're going to freight train right on by. The problem, though, is we've seen it all night long. He might get a good run, but with this package, eventually, and there goes Mark. Yep, he saw it happening. He immediately jumped up high because that's a lap, well, it's not a lap car yet, but will be a lap car in front of him once they go around him. Obviously, Mark Stevenson now is with the pack here with Matt. Are they going to be able to clear that one car down low? As you see, everybody's up high. Here we go, battle for the lead up front. We'll see if those lap cars kind of give a leeway to the lead lap cars up front.
Yeah, we saw the 64 peel off a little bit, take the apron down there. 45 gets a little squirrely on entry there, so now he's lost his draft partner for the moment. So we still got a little bit of a drag race up front.
That's a good question out there, Bruce. Yeah, 100%. It is an open style setup, and you're right. Which of the teams actually worked on their own setups, which of them went and, borrowed a couple setups here. So interesting right now, but I tell you what, that car on the inside there with Mark Stevenson's will not give up. He might say I might be a lap down, but I want to stay out front here. He has all the right in the world to battle as long as he doesn't, to me, he doesn't impede the leaders up front. A lot of jockeying going on in the back there. But it is frustrating for the leaders up front there. You're always looking at a lap car going, and we got a wreck. We're under caution. Gary Nichols involved. It happened in the back. Oh, contact. Took out a lot of machines back there. Oh, Robert Hayes involved also in it. Back and watched. This looks like the 08 car got a little loose. Don't know if there was a little bump draft happened, but it came up into the 007, contacting the wall, and the 007 nowhere to go. Also, the 84 involved, 681 there involved, 333 involved, 29 involved. Wow. A lot of cars involved in that one. Just about 4 or 5 machines there in the back.
And it looked like the 007 or Robert Hayes came down to try to side draft a little bit. Again, that's just not a great idea. And it looked like there was a little bit of net code in that one as well. So you see that a lot here. With guys trying to side draft, you can get too close when you're doing that and cause problems that like we just.
Well, John, we talked about it. I tell you what, Mark Stevenson, this right here probably was a blessing in disguise. He was able to maintain and stay out front long enough. Now he's going to be able to pit. You talked about needing pit help. Well, everybody should jump on pit road now, and now he's going to be with that top pack.
Yeah, but the guy that really is the winner of this is
oh, wait a minute. We got a car
Ryan.
stayed out. What was that? The stayed out behind him. Was that a lap car?
Brian Schreibner in the 70 that was up there running with him that was almost about to go a lap down. That he did not get put a lap down, so he gets to come around and rejoin, stay on the lead lap.
Well, we were talking about it before the wreck. What I was basically saying, as a leader right there, you find it very frustrating. And Mark Stevenson, 2 tire stop. Wow. So see some strategy playing out already. But basically, what I'm saying there is, as a leader, you're frustrated because you're looking at the lap cars down there, and you're like, all right, guys, you're a lap down. Get out the way. I'm trying to run for the lead. I'm trying to stay out front here. But, those lap cars, as long as they can maintain speed with you and I'm not up there trying to wreck you or anything, to me, they have all the right in the world. It paid dividends all for him there, like you said. Didn't go a lap down when the caution came out, so was able to make the wave around and be okay.
And the biggest thing is, he wasn't causing any issues. He just held on to the inside lane, was a big help in the draft. And, if you're on the track, you got every right to put your car where you need to be to help yourself, and that's what he did. And unfortunate, it took some cars out of the race here, had an incident again, but paid off for him to stay out and race his way up there and maintain his position on the lead lap.
Good run so far here. We're here tonight here with the Majors series here at Daytona International Speedway. It's been a very, very good race here tonight. It's the Sportsman Series class here are these guys, and they've done an outstanding job. We've not really seen a huge big one here tonight. Not really seen a lot of, we've seen a lot of give and take here. We'll put it that way with these drivers on the track. But it is still early. Even though it's lap 135 here, 200, really early here. These guys definitely got a little bit to go. I'll say they're going to probably, at this point in the race, it's getting close to one more pit stop, I'm going to say. It's going to be a close one here. Now, I don't know, anybody out there in the league that might be watching one of the drivers, let me know if the green-white checkered is on for this one. That is something I did not get confirmation on. Shame on me as a broadcaster up here. But I did not get confirmation if they implement the green-white checker, because obviously that is in iRacing. And John, you've been a part of it. I've seen it many a times. Definitely can play a strategy here, because as close as we are getting to the end, and with it being on that fuel window, we've seen a lot of green flag racing. It's going to be close to one pit stop, but then again, that green-white could throw a kind of a needle in that one.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure you got enough fuel to get to the end. And this is one of those places where people don't think fuel really plays a factor, but it's a huge factor, because, the caution laps here are so long, or almost 2 minutes. And you cut the car off, you do all the things you can to save, but when you're out there racing, it's hard to save anything. I mean, you basically have to run 50% throttle and hope you don't get run over. So, you might see some guys, maybe turn an extra lap, maybe 2 laps to put that fuel in, so they'll have enough to get to the end. Because at the end of the race, you don't want to pit and give up that position that you got if you don't have to. So, fuel definitely important here. I'd say more important than tires.
Yeah, and I'm with you. We talked about tires earlier on. Now, again, fixed setup versus open setup. And what we mean by that, folks, if you're new to iRacing, or if you're just new to the lingo or whatnot, definitely, as far as when it comes to an open setup, means these guys, well, they did their own setup on the car. Just like in real life, they're able to set the cars up, springs, adjustments, heights, et cetera, anything on it they possibly can. A fixed setup, basically it's already a fixed style setup that iRacing puts out there for them. We're very familiar with that. We're very familiar with how the tires. Now, it's going to be interesting here is Mark took 2 tires. Harold also took 2 tires. Everybody else behind him took 4. So, interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to really hinder him any. I think the 2 tires is a good call, so you're not spinning on the restart, which actually does happen. Not that even in real life we saw that today, but happens a lot here on iRacing. So taking the 2 tires on the right sides there, I think, is a good call for these guys, trying to maintain their positions up front here. So I think it'll pay off. I think they'll be just fine right where they're at.
Absolutely. They're definitely going to have a lot of help as lights off on the pace car coming out turn 4. Hey, I tell you what, Bruce, that's awesome. Definitely got a lot of Daytona racing. Actually got another Daytona race tomorrow. So check us out, OSR Network on YouTube, Facebook, for all your racing action here. Pace cars in. Here we go. As the green flag is back in the air, we're back racing here at Daytona.
Good start by Mark Stevenson there. We see he did not just take off and leave everybody. That allows the cars behind him to draft with him and help him, instead of leaving him out there like a sitting duck and everybody.
It is, and you're right. You don't want to get too far out in front there, because if you do, these guys will freight train right on by you. That's just typical plate track racing. Everybody side by side here. The top lane's coming to life, though, rumbling to the front in the turn 3. But out front, Mark Stevenson's got it held down. Here comes that high lane to life, though, as we saw earlier on.
Yeah, the high lane here getting a little bit of momentum here, but they're going to have to really be pushing on each other and helping a lot. It takes a lot more to get that outside lane working. Get some more help here as the 58 comes up on the high side. So got a little 4 on the bottom, 4 up top action here. We'll see how it plays.
Harold gets a bumper out front. He has got a lot of help up there. I think this is what they need. He had a little confidence earlier on coming up high. and he's battling it out there with Mark Stevenson down low. Matt's on the back end of him. You're starting to see him now closing up the gap a little bit on him. Still being very patient. Got a long way to go in this one. Don't want to jump these cars earlier on, but it's 2x2 racing up front here as you see the high lane now right there with him. And look at this. John, look who's up high. That 45 machine there of Lucas. Can he help him out? He's looking like he's doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, Lucas has done a terrific job, even though he had a little damage on the front end. He's been a great drafting partner to have for these guys up front. Done a great job to maintain his position here inside the top 5 the whole race, and doing a good job here pushing. The problem is he needs a little help from behind to make that outside lane work so they can really get by these guys and clear them.
Now, my eyes might be deceiving me a little bit, but, and I might not know this, but then again, he has probably got that car, looks like, almost fixed in the front. You can see the front end's not as bad as what it was. You know, and I know that if he goes on the, goes into the pit lane, that iRacing will work on the car a little bit. But so the front end doesn't look as bad as what it did.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't look as bad. So maybe he, under some of these stops wasn't able to get it all done. Maybe even under caution said, I don't want to lose the track position. I'll just work on it slowly through the race. Well, whatever he did has paid off. He's maintained his spot here in the top 5 all race, as we said, and doing a great job now, being able to push to the front. As we see, they get a really good run out here. Not going to be able to clear the 53 the entire way, but he does push the other car out to the lead there as the 53 comes back to the inside.
Absolutely. So 45 there of Lucas, definitely getting a lot of his damage taken care of. So he's definitely a player in this here. And again here, John, you know and I know, as they drag race to the line, you do not have to pass that car. You just got to get a nose out in front of them to win it here. We've seen a lot of mini races in the past and in real racing here being won by mere inches. Up top, though, you got Harold right there, but Mark, he's able to pull out front just for the moment.
He is. Usually you want to be on that outside lane. I'm a big fan of it myself, but so far this entire race, I think we've seen the inside lane really prevail, especially coming out of 4, coming to the line. It takes 3 to 4 cars on that outside really pushing each other to get the run that you need to be leading up there. So something to think about towards the end of the race is if the cars just aren't up there, you just aren't going to be able to make that work.
You're right. Right now, Mark is hanging on to the top spot, but here comes Harold on that outside, firing back on all 8 cylinders. He come around. Man, I tell you what, that high lane's not giving up, John.
They're drafting pretty tight with each other right now. They're doing a great job here. A little less space between the outside lane versus inside, but you see Gelder now pull back up to the bumper on the 53, helping shove him down the backstretch here going into 3. That's exactly what the 53 needs every single lap. They could slowly create a gap here with this outside lane because the outside is not pushing the way the inside is.
No, it's not, but we saw that all night long as you see the top lane right there kind of flutter out just a little bit, but they're actually still maintaining a little there with Mark. As they come across the line, they're heading off into turn 1. Harold still fires back, though. Man, it's a race up front.
And again, even though we're coming down, to the end, towards the end of this race anyway, they're all going to have to pit again anyway. But you want to maintain as many, positions as you can here. You see a big run behind him. Zachary Brown thought about taking it 3 wide into the middle and then thought better of it, and I'm glad he did because that would not have. Oh, we got a wreck. 45 car.
It's a big one. Oh. And we just talked about it. Lucas right there. Go back, rewind it just a little bit. Oh, looks like he just got clipped from the back end.
Yeah, it looked like Brown thought he was going to try to help and give him a shove there. The problem is it's on the left corner of the car. That's just never going to work. You've got to be squared up on the guy's rear end bumper to make that work. And just a miscalculation.
Yeah, it was a 598 machine right there, watching in slow-mo. But yeah, the 45, hard impact. Going to take out a good set of group of machines. A lot of guys making it through pretty good, though. Not everybody. 70 car down there, not so lucky, though. Yeah, we'll watch it again right here. Just see the 598 machine right there. Get to run, and then just a little love tap in the back. That's all it took. Wow, wrong place, wrong time, huh?
It's not the place you want to be giving a guy a shove there. I know probably no intent on his end of making that happen, but if you're going to push on these cars, you've got to do it just squared up in the center there.
I tell you what, we just rode along with old Chris Sherburne right there. He did a complete 360 and kept that thing going. Got smacked in the rear end. Almost got through it there, but got tagged in the last part there. Wow. One to caution.
Yeah, I think I counted 7 cars involved with that incident there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Mark McFadden, one of the guys that we saw had a ton of speed there coming up, doing great in the draft. Looks like he's disconnected his damage. He's out of the race. Sucks for him. He was doing a terrific.
You're absolutely right. He is the only one that's officially retired. As Robert Hayes, he's on pit road. He might try to get a lot of the damage done, or get it, kind of, back going. But Mark, man, out of this one tonight, definitely had a fast machine, and right there did collect a few of the fast machines, and most notably, Daniel Johnson. Now, I don't really see a lot of damage on Daniel's car, so I'm not sure why, but he is way back in 12th place. It's going him. But I don't know if he just
those guys, they all hit pit road, so.
I guess. Wow. Now, here's the thing. Lucas, even who was caught up into that wreck and actually was the one pretty much started in it. Not by any fault of his owner there, but showing him up in 10th. I don't know if he's going to stay there or not, but that would be amazing if he was. I mean, that guy I got to give my hats off, and he's probably going to have the headache award here for the race, because he's been up front all night long with a beat up car. Now he's got one that's even more beat up, and he still could possibly be up front.
Yeah, you trying to say that he gets the Richard Petty Goodies Headache Award?
There you go, absolutely.
Yeah.
Goodies Headache Award. We'll give that out to him. But definitely, maybe we'll make it new and we'll say he needs a Motrin.
I just hope we don't have to write a check to Richard Petty for me saying his name twice.
I know. That's what I'm saying. If you're watching, Richard, we do appreciate it, man. Absolutely. Well, I hope everybody's enjoying the race so far, man. It has been a good one. It's a typical Daytona. We've had some cautions. We've had some green flag stops. We've had a lot of side-by-side racing. We've had some, obviously some single file style, and some strategies going on. We've seen some guys work together, guys trying to get to the front. We have yet to see the huge big one yet, even though with the cautions we've had, it's just been. Now, that one right there could have been a huge one by being up front, but a lot of guys, got out of it. Still about 4 or 5 cars there was involved with it. But it's been a good up front so far. We'll just have to see how this one plays out. Again, 10 laps to go, John. The gloves come off, and it's fight time.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it amp up here the rest of the way. You know, I think we'll come to green with about 50, 51 laps to go here. I think some of those guys hit pit road, and what they're probably going to do is take this run and just cut it in half. Might see a little strategy here where, you know, somebody wants to stay out a couple laps, see if they can, you know, if they're already growing a little gap on the field, continue to get that and then pit. Definitely going to be some strategy played out here by those guys coming to pit road because you're going to have to pit again. The thing is, you know, you can cut this in half, you can short pit, or you can stay out. So I know I just blew everybody's mind with those three options, but that's pretty much all you can do, but it's going to make a big difference.
Hey, world of insight there from John. I tell you what, and I do appreciate you, man. Been up here in the booth with me. It's really good because, like I say, you race a lot of these races. I used to race it. Obviously, I'm a big fan of NASCAR. This is kind of our wheelhouse here. We're learning a lot when it comes to the road side of things. Now, don't get me wrong. I've raced a lot of road racing, and I love how the road racing stuff, you know, works and happens. But right here tonight with this is oval style racing, and it's good to see because you race a lot of it now. And like I said, and iRacing, check them out, iRacing.com, get signed up. A lot of people ask the question, what do you need? Well, you need a computer, you need a wheel. And you can go as little as you want or as high as you want. It really doesn't matter. I know John's got $1 million setup over there. But and whatnot. He's got a really nice one, I know, folks. But
takes a lot to make up for the lack of
yeah, I hear. There we go. I hear you. But hey, John's a really good driver. I've done a lot of broadcasts now. And again, I go totally off differently from what a lot. We're going back green flag those because I do mostly just broadcasting here on the iRacing side of things, and we're back racing here at Daytona. Joshua Allen out front here with Ernie Ludwig. Let's see, man, they get a little far away. That's kind of etchy when you do that.
Yeah, it looked like the 598 just did not get a good restart for whatever reason. But these guys up front here did a great job here. Ludwig just going to fall in line here, be the third car behind Stevenson and Allen here. But Stevenson's going to be giving him a shove. And the 16 coming to the outside all by us.
Yeah, he is. Here we go. Let's see if that 16 is going to be able to have enough muscle to get up there. I don't know if he's got enough car. He's going to need help. Matt's there. Matt drops down low, though. Does not. And the 16 decides he's going to drop back low. Well, yep, he's going to stay low.
Well, the 16's got a car behind him, and Harold Darner, who's been on the high side a lot tonight and has really gotten better with his drafting. So if he wants to go to the high side, I think that Harold might just follow him up there, and they could give these guys a run for their money, but they're going to have to really get together and to make it happen, and they're going to need help from Matt, and I think Matt will probably stick with his inside lane.
Yeah, 50 to go in this one here tonight. It's a very good run so far. Everybody's been still patient here as Joshua Allen out front with Mark Stevenson right there behind him. Ernie Ludwig is another one there. Good race right there. And like you said, Harold sitting in the fourth place spot along with Matt. Chris, Matt, hey, you know, he got spun around that last caution. He's back up to sixth place so far.
He did, but he's done a great job tonight. He's ran around in the back, as we noted earlier. Started 21st, running up to the sixth position now. I think this is his highest that he's been tonight. So
it is.
Just coming up through the field, doing a terrific job here.
Well, I know Rashad, if he's still out there watching, there you go, Rashad. Chris Sherburne.
Sherburne, yep.
Sherburne, okay. Sherburne, there we go.
And Johnson gets shot out of a cannon down the backstretch. Daniel Johnson just passed 3 cars all by his.
I'm going to tell you what that tells you right there. He's got a setup that is fast. If he could get help up there with those, it looks like several cars are forming up line up top. And Mark sees that he's going to get up there. I really feel like once Daniel gets back out front, it's probably his to lose. But again, I don't know. Now he falls back in line. Man, Mark went up there to help him, and then Daniel just left him out.
Yeah, well, Daniel's teammate in the 16 is behind him, so by design there as to why he went to the bottom. Plus, he knows that the 53 is a competitive
Oh,
car. The
car
54.
wrecking. We got a car that was hit the bottom. That's Chris Shearburn. Oh, man, he got clobbered. Nowhere to go. I don't know the car that actually lost it right there, but Chris, nowhere to go. The car went way down on the apron and came right up in front of Chris. Watch a slow-mo, and then he just got destroyed. I mean, that car flipped end over end there, John. Wow.
Yeah, the car that lost it was the 050 of Marco Barbonera. It looked like just going into 3, he had a really high entry. He goes to turn the car in, and the rear end just comes out.
It does, and Chris paid the price along with several other cars there. Oh, totally destroyed that little. I'll rewind that thing back there just a minute because that is just, right there. Nowhere to go. Tell you what, we'll ride around. We'll ride on board here with him. He sees the car slide. No, just nowhere to go. I mean, it's just like wham. And I hope you're not dizzy, folks, or get dizzy real easy because right there you just saw him end over end.
A really strange incident there.
Yeah.
By the 050 car there.
Yeah, it's like he got loose in the turn, had to chase it all down the apron. And then, you know, and I know, once you get to the apron, it's going to upset that car. He tried to come back up the track, and it was already sideways from there, and a disaster.
But again, it's the second time tonight that we've seen somebody lose the rear end all by themselves here. So it just kind of makes you wonder if the way they've got their setups, you know, just makes it really loose, drives it off of that right rear tire, and just sets them.
Absolutely. So it's a good one so far here. Everybody, man, is being very, very patient as it's a good race. Again, like I say, we're at Daytona here for the major series, the Sportsman Class. If you're interested in what the pro guys are doing, they're running there. Check them out on GSRC. On their YouTube side of things, you'll see the American class there running, the pro split. There's several classes that run here at the major series. Link down there in the description. Check them out. Give you all the information, you know, standings, give you the series, a little bit about the majors, and, you know, just show you all kinds of information. And obviously, check out iRacing.com and check out us tonight here at OSR Network. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. We do many different races. And, well, you know, check out John Wimmis. He's a lot of different leagues, too, runs.
Nobody wants to watch that.
Come on now. Tim McBrayer used to love watching it.
Yeah. Oh, Tim.
Good old Tim, man. I tell you what. Miss him a lot, man. Miss him up here. He loved the racing. And there's Rashad, excuse me. But unfortunately, Rashad, Chris up there was doing well, and now he just got taken out in a wreck, a huge one, and tore the car all to pieces. He took a ride end over end. But he was up front there for a little bit.
He got up to 6. He's still sitting on pit road, unfortunately. Probably got a lot of damage to fix there. His race is definitely over with, or at least a chance to win here. But, you know, talking about the majors, and we did the big 12-hour race with, or 24-hour race with them, and did some coverage with that. And the thing that I liked about what we were being told by the guys from the majors is, you know, how invested they are in the drivers. So if you're looking for a league, definitely look them up. They've got a place for every single person that wants to be a part of it. They've got different splits that everybody runs in, you know, based on your skill level. And as you grow as a driver, you know, and they help you as well. You know, they'll come in and tell you what you need to do or run sessions with you and help you. As you grow, you get moved on up through their splits and go where you're supposed to be. Obviously, Daytona is Daytona. It's nothing to gauge anything off of. Even today, we saw what's supposed to be the best drivers in the world make it look like a demolition derby. So it's always going to be that way until NASCAR wants to change something about the setup. But The majors is a great series if you're looking for a place to go, or just somewhere to get started, a place to learn how to road race and things like that. They've got places for you at every single skill level, and there's so many different racing disciplines that they use through their season. And that's the other really cool
Yeah,
thing about it, is they do all types of racing. Even they're going to do an Indy race, at the Brickyard. So
they are. Yeah.
it's really cool that they use so many different racing disciplines. So maybe you're not a strong road race guy like myself, but you're a good oval racer, and you can make up some points that way. So and have a little bit of fun, as you learn more and grow as a driver. Then you hit a track where you know exactly what you're doing. So, really cool league. It sounds like, to be a part of, and got a lot of things there to offer everybody. So I really, enjoy their races, and what they do for the iRacing community is unbelievable, as a lot of leagues do, to help people and give you a home and a place to race and just come have some fun.
And you said it right there too. You talk about the Indy. You're right. They'll be running the Indy cars, Indy 500. We'll be doing the coverage for that one too for the Sportsman class. So it's going to be interesting what these guys do. We've got a Rockingham race coming up. Actually, that's the next race on the schedule, folks. March the 1st. Check that out. It's called the Rockingham 400. It's in the K&N cars. So that'll be interesting. And then we got
that's going to be so cool.
It will. And then after that, you talk about the diversity here. Right after that, we go the Race of the Neverlands and the Audi LMS cars. So that one's going to be interesting. And then here's what I'm looking forward to: the All-Star race, and then the World 600. Obviously, the Cup cars on that one. So, but then you talk about the Dallara there, the Indy car, Indy 500. Le Mans, we go back to it again with the WECs. They go to Road of America with the Indy cars. We even got a dirt race at Knoxville in the 410 wing sprints and the Silver Crown. So you're right, a lot of diversity here in the major series.
Definitely looking forward to the dirt. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. Pace cars in. We got to get past Daytona here. Well, look who's up front there with them. Got Daniel Johnson, but you still got Mark Stevens and Joshua. What's going to happen to the high line? Still got enough muscle to hang up top. Oh, boy, I tell you what, Mark says no. He's threaded the needle. He did for the moment, then he went back high.
Yeah, I don't know if he was just trying to stall out the run that Johnson was going to get, or if he just decided, I want to stay up front here. He's got a good guy pushing behind him. Matt's done a terrific job in the draft helping guys all night long, so maybe he figured he'd just stay right there and see how this top lane's going to work. Probably wanting to get pushed to the front where he could get clear and get.
I'm with you on that one. Right now, though, you see on the inside, riding along here with Daniel Johnson. Daniel, that car in front of him there with Joshua's got a little damage on the rear end. I don't know if that's going to hinder him any in the draft or how that car handles. But it'll hurt just a little bit of handling-wise, I feel, depending on how his setup is. Maybe loosen that car up just a little bit. Got to be careful. You talked about it there. If Daniel gets too much of a run and gets up to the back end of him, it could loosen up Joshua in the turn, and that's where we could see the big one.
You see Daniel now giving him a little shot here, shoving into 3. Maintaining his position there, but you're right. When the car gets up on your bumper like that, going into the corner, sometimes it makes you feel a little uneasy. You lose the rear end a little bit. You don't want somebody being that close to you when you're in the turn, but going down the back stretch, even through this area here with start-finish line, get on the bumper all you want, but in the corner, maybe give him a little bit of room here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I always say there's several places you don't want to bump draft going in and through and out of the turn into the tri-ovals. Obviously, on the last lap, all things fair play there, and it's out the window. You're starting to see these guys close up the gap a little bit. As you see Daniel Johnson, he is pushing and shoving that car down the back stretch. Man, he's got that thing locked to the back bumper. And again, he's got to let off of it in that turn, because with a little bit of damage to that rear end there, Joshua, it wouldn't take much to unease that car. We've seen it a couple times in wrecks. Cars just kind of lose it. Man, if he loses in front right there where he's at, that could be a huge one.
Yeah, we see a car up here in the mix, the 38 car of, I think it's Marty Verana here. I think he's a couple laps down. Look at it. He's the first car 2 laps down, but he's got a ton of speed here. So, right now these guys that are up front up on the high side are saying, hey, it's totally fine that you're here. Just give us a shot.
No doubt about it here. Got also Gerald right there, Gilbert. He's running pretty good up on the high side right there along with that machine. Haven't seen much tonight, but he's up front here running. I still got to give my hats off to this guy. Lucas, back up to 6th place. He got messed up in that last caution, folks. I mean, and he's still running. I mean, he's got a miracle machine out there.
It's something about it. He's done a great job tonight. Being able to be up there, fight through all the adversity, all the wrecks that he's
and that
had.
car don't look that hurt. So, look at it.
It doesn't look that bad at all. I think a couple of his deals just been little light touches here and there, but had a little bit on that front end. Still got some damage there, but for the most part,
they have
got a clean car. But
that's what I'm wondering because his car is clean.
They have one.
Okay. Now, that would make sense because I believe he just used it right there because that car is pristine.
Oh! 38 gets together.
And it's a huge wreck. Uh-oh, let's go, man, up front here. Oh, yeah, we see it right there. See what happened right here. Is the 69 of Matt went high and the 38 went 3 wide. And that car just was bouncing everywhere and then just bounced up into the 68. And it caused a huge one.
Caused a big one there and by a car that's 2 laps down. Now, if I said they were okay with them being up there, it's only okay if you're going to stay behind the guys. If you're going to start going past people, you've got to give them some room there. He had the whole bottom lane opened up, the inside lane took off there. He had room behind that 16. Maybe he wasn't aware, couldn't see that at the time, but really had had Matt pinched up there.
Yeah, Matt, had a fast machine and now tore up. Now, obviously, now that we know the information with the fast fix, that makes sense with the 45. Well, a lot of these guys are going to have to use it because Matt hadn't used it the whole entire time. He'll be able to get back out there. Again, I apologize, folks. I was not aware that they had one fast fix. Appreciate that information there, John. Wow. Huge one here at Talladega. Daytona here. He'll get back up front. That's going to put Daniel B. Johnson and Joshua Allen out front. Now, pit stops here. Here's the thing, though. I still think they're short on the pit stops. Be close. Real close.
It's going to be very close. I think they're going to have to pit for fuel. I don't think anybody's going to be able to.
Chris, if you're still out there watching, let us know if they have the green-white checkered implemented in this race here. I'm really interested in these. Are probably some questions I probably should have already asked. Apologize. We'll get some information relayed to us here. But, yeah, Chris Shearburn, if you're out there still watching, definitely, kind of let us know. But because that will play a factor here, too. And obviously, again here, John, we're going to start seeing a lot of pushing and shoving as this race gets closer to the end. These guys definitely are going to, patience wear thin, so to speak.
It does. And, I mean, even though this is in the virtual world and we're all sitting, in our room and some guys might use motion or whatever, it's still exhausting. It still is tiring. It's mentally draining. You end up holding the steering wheel too daggone tight and have to remind yourself that it's not going to hurt if you wreck. So it's a little different, in that aspect, but it still is a mentally exhausting thing to do. And, as the race wears on, you see incidents like what we just saw. I think going back, if it beginning of the race or some other point earlier, you'd have seen a lot more patience, maybe a little more awareness instead of just thinking, "Oh, we're good right here." I think the 38 really put him in a bad spot unintentionally. But as the race wears on, everything about you gets a little more tired. Your mind kind of might wander for a little bit. You make little mental mistakes, and so when you get done with a race like this, you're pretty tired. You can be, and so it kind of makes you wonder how some of these guys, well, look, my favorite driver is Clint Boyer. We all know he loves to party and drink and everything. I always wondered how that guy can go out, drink like a fish stays in water, and then go race, 4 hours the next day. So,
Tough guy.
yeah, it makes you wonder sometimes about these guys, the shape they've got to be in because they're out there feeling the forces and the
Oh yeah.
heat and everything. All we're doing is sitting in our living room or wherever we are, but it can still be, a mentally exhausting thing to do is race like this. So, things are going to happen, mental mistakes are going to happen, but I believe if they had that one to take back, I think they'd make a much better decision there. But
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, definitely. And Chris out there said they did have in the duels on Friday that they did have the green white checkered implemented. So I'm gonna say they did tonight. Now, Chris, do you remember? Did they have one attempt of it, or is it unlimited attempts here, or how many? Some leagues different. Some only have one attempt. Some have a couple or multiple or unlimited or whatever. They can have as many as they want. But that is awesome out there, and Chris is going to see if he can get that thing back out there up to minimum lap speed. Good to see him out there trying to fix it and get back on the track here. He's caught up earlier on in the race, just got totally destroyed on it with end over end. Wild ride there for Chris Sherburne. But it looks like lights off on the pace car. We're going to set to go back here racing as the wave around cars go. Like Mark Stevenson's going to be the man out front. He took again 2 tires. Paid off for him earlier. Let's see what happens this time.
that must mean the wear is just not that bad on the left side there for him to do that. He's trying to maintain, this position up front here where he can dictate, what goes on up front, dictate the start of this race. But got 2 teammates behind him in Johnson and Ernie Ludwig here that are going to work together. So, maybe hopefully Stevenson's got some friends here around him that he can work with.
No doubt about it. Good run so far here as these guys are looking pretty good. Mark Stevenson right there on the top side. Daniel Johnson right there along with him. Ernie Ludwig sitting in third. Marco right there in the 4th place. And Lucas hanging on the 5th. Here we go. Getting set to go back. Green flag here tonight. The Daytona 500 presented by the Majors. Here, the Sportsman's Class. Out of turn 4. Pace car is about to drop off on pit road. Can Mark hold off that Johnson up top because he has been a bad, fast guy all night long. Pace car takes the hard left turn off on pit road. Mark Stevenson drops the hammer. And Daniel did not get the start that he wanted, though.
No, they didn't. It looked like Mark Stevenson really got the jump here. Trying to do
much.
Yes, a little big jump there. But he gets Johnson and the other guys to come down to the inside lane, so that's going to help him for the moment.
It does. You're right. Now, Daniel here is going to have a thing as he runs up on the back end of Mark. He's just going to try to take that momentum. Doesn't look like it. He's going to stay where he's at. I think he understands Mark has a fast machine out front. They can hold that low line. Still a little early here to make the moves, but up high, that 18 machine there along with the 72 there. They got 2 cars up there. Don't know if they're going to have enough muscle to hang on to that high line.
They're definitely not being just 2 cars against the 4 or 5 that are lined up here on the inside. But here comes Matt on the outside with a huge run here. He's going to really have to force the issue with the 2 guys up top here to make this lane work. They've got to get closer and
Remember Matt earlier on, but he was the one that got caught up in that wreck, and he used his fast fix. He's got that car put back together, so he's definitely a contender in this. You got to look. This guy's had an eventful night. Lucas out there got his car repaired. They pulled it out here. He's still up front here battling it out. So A couple guys we've seen all night long, up and down the charts, but have been up front here, battling it out the closing parts of this race. And we got a car crashing in the back here. Actually, it's Nolan. Well, it didn't really crash. He blew up. He's off the race surface, so no caution.
I want to see what the 72 is going to do on the outside here. The 72, that's Gerard Gilbert. Gave the 18 a really good shove down the backstretch last time. Coming back on him again, another good push here by Gilbert to the 8.
Man, right now they are nose to tail, and you're right, boy. Gilbert right there got his hands full with that machine into the turn. As you said, he gave him a shove, but then he lost a little momentum, so he's going to have to see if he can't get back up there to his back bumper and punch him to the front of this field, trying to get some air cooled on that car. Look in there. It looks like he's got a little nose damage on the front, a little bit.
He's got a little bit of damage watching the end car view there. Looked like he was sawing on the wheel just a bit. Maybe just needs to tone down his wheel input there, just be a little more soft with his movements. A little more subtle movements here. Give that 18 a shove again. Don't be afraid to do it, but just subtle movements into the turn, not drastic jerks down.
Got another car on the apron here. Very slow. That's Marty. See, he was able to get off the racing surface, but unfortunately, just slow right there. Not up to speed. Oh, off the pace as they cross the line up front. Mark Stevenson, the man out front right now. Joshua there in second. Daniel Johnson up in the third. Well, that high lane, they got 3 cars up there. They're holding pretty strong so far, John.
Outside lane doing a great job here. I like what I'm seeing out of the 72. Coming back at it. Not afraid of what happened earlier. Getting a little loose there. Going to give him another shove here, and then they got Matt behind. Oh, he gives him a big shove, gets him out of.
Man, yeah, it was. That almost could have been disastrous right there. That 18, my God, he felt that one.
I don't know what it was about that one there. It looked like he hit him square. Just something about it got him out.
Yeah, it got him very wiggly up front there, and now he has no help whatsoever. Everybody goes down low. He's going to be like a brick in water here, just going to drop straight to the back.
Here comes Matt. Here comes Matt on the outside. A huge run going by everybody on the inside here. AT's going to throw a little block on him here.
Wow, Matt, you're right, man. I'll tell you what, remember earlier on, he had a bad fast machine before he got caught up in that wreck. He might be able to shove that machine up there in front of him to the front side. Whew. Well, these guys, Joshua right now, he's like, man, guys, do I have a rear bumper left at the time y'all get done ripping it off?
It just shows you how big a part the draft plays, though, for these guys to be that far back, catch a little sniff of the draft, and be able to come up through there and use it to their advantage. But, then you got that car in front of you, you got to lift for them, and now you're kind of stuck like this one. And you kind of wish you could just keep going. If Matt didn't have the 18 in front of him, he'd be leading this race.
I believe so. Matt's got a fast car. He's got Johnson down there on the low side along with Mark out high, but up top, Joshua's hanging on. He got out front for the moment, so they know that high lane can get it going. They got another car going to come up there and help him out. Matt knows he's going to have to tuck it up underneath there, Joshua, if he wants to shove him to the front. As Mark still leads it, coming across the line this time by. It is lap 173, folks. We're getting close to about 3/4 of the way in this one here at the Daytona 500. You can feel it. It's getting exciting up front.
Basically drag race right here down the backstretch. We got 3 lanes, 2x2 right now. 72 starting to come up to Matt on the back bumper here doing another backstretch. These guys need to get in line. I think they could be really competitive. I think right now we've got the fastest cars lined up on the outside to try to challenge the leaders, first and second place here, which we know are super fast themselves, that being Mark Stevenson and Daniel Johnson.
Absolutely, and up top there, Matt, you saw that third place car get a little bit off the back tailgate there of Johnson, allowed those top two guys to stay within them. But it is still a drag race up top there. Mark out front for the moment. Joshua's doing everything he can to powerhouse that machine to the front. He's got two machines there, got a third car going to come up to him as they head off down the backstretch here. Lap 174 here in the books tonight. It's a good one so far here with Mark Stevenson out front leading.
Yeah, let's not forget, I think they're going to have to pit at least for fuel. So how much are they going to need to get to the end? These guys going to kind of try to play that strategy down and only take fuel. You know, when are they going to come here? I don't think anybody can make it the rest of the way.
Oh, man, and Mark took that lap right there by nose. You're right, I'm with you on that one. I don't think anybody can, but they have been fooled before. Is anybody in the back maybe have taken, you know, that many of a lot of pit stops, but I don't know. I'm still with you. I think fuel stop here again, counting there's no caution, and this thing goes green the rest of the way.
And the other thing is, you know, we don't know, like how some of these guys like the 16, the 45, the 72, 69, are they using, you know, 75, 80% throttle? Are they at 50? How much are they lifting? You know, how much are they actually able to save right now? You know, be interesting if we, you know, if we had all that information, all that telemetry to find out, but we don't. But we'll figure it out by the time the race is over, who's been able to make it work. But the top two guys are just hanging it all out there. I just don't think they're going to have enough to make it.
Matt might be the one right there, and Daniel Johnson behind him. Obviously, if you're behind him, you might. I don't think they're cracking the throttle. Could be wrong, again, like we said before, but even with them dragging the brake, that's going to help with fuel mileage there. That 18 machine and Mark out front, though, they've got that thing probably flat-footed. There's no way that they could actually crack or do anything. Guy behind them will just run all over them.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I'm riding on the in-car view with Ernie Ludwig right now, and he's only lifting if he gets a run, you know, in the draft as you normally would. So he's lifting a couple times a lap. That's definitely not enough to save what he would need to make it all the way.
Well, we got interesting out there. Chris, you know, obviously who's out of the race, give us the insight right there. He said if you're on the, you can stretch it to maybe 35 laps if you're in the draft, which is what, you know, we've seen kind of all night long. 30 to 31 if you're pushing up front. We see a lot of pushing and pulling going on up front. That's going to be close. It's going to be close. I think the green-white checker could definitely play a factor here if that happens. But if this thing goes green, I would not be surprised if they do try to go the whole entire distance. Somebody running out of fuel on the last lap. You see Johnson, he's tired of riding behind old Mark. He jumps up high, and I feel, you know, Daniel's been fast all night long. If he can get out front, he's going to be that car. It's going to be tough to get around.
Yeah, now I think we've got some fast cars lined up on the outside. Riding along inside with the 45, he is lifting a ton. He's been on it for 3 to 4 seconds, then back off. Right now, coming down the backstretch is the longest he's stayed in it. He just let out. So he's been able to lift a ton and stay in this.
Absolutely, and you see it up front as we got a new leader. Daniel Johnson brings it out front of the pack here. Ernie Ludwig's up top, so Daniel says, I'm going to lead this thing. He's going to come to the line, and he'll lead that lap this time by. He led halfway at the 100 lap mark, by the way. Earlier I said at 99, but he led 100 also. And right now, though, top side guy, well, that's still Joshua. He's not going to give up on this.
No, and he's right where he needs to be. He should stay right there unless he gets pushed up and he can pass and get down in front of Johnson, and we might see him shoot down to the inside. But, you know, just trying to maintain here and be one of the players towards the end of this race. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Just take up that line, make the guy behind you push you, because he can't go anywhere by himself.
Absolutely. You're right there, Casey. At least they're not out here killing each other, crashing all over the place. 100% agree with you on that one. So it's definitely a good one as they come across the line to complete that lap. Still Daniel Johnson, the man out front, but Joshua's there. And you know and I know, coming out of turn 4, coming across that line, Joshua could easily get that nose out front and take that lead away from him and take the win on the checkered flag.
Definitely could. That's all it takes is to be there at the end, coming off of 4, and get a gigantic push here. But I think we've got the top 4 fastest cars up there right now. If I was running 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, I would go to that outside line and help some of these guys get up there and see if we can't freight train these guys that we know have fast cars, just leave them with less drafting help. As we see in front of the 45, the 050 of Marco, he's been all over the place here, but a lot of speed in that car as he's trying to draft, with the guys on the inside here, but really been all over the place. I don't know if it's from the setup or just him being excited to be up front with these guys, but doing a great job. You see he's got a ton of speed, ducking out, getting some air, ducking back behind to draft again, but the 16, massive shove with the 18 going into 3.
You're right. Marco, the Italian guy up there, looking really good. Like I say, holding strong amongst these guys there. Lucas, got to give him a shout out. That guy's been up and down all night long. He's held a car together that was damaged earlier on in the race, but he's able to bounce back here. And Matt right now is losing the tail end a little bit on that top side. He needs to close that gap up some if he wants to help that high lane out. If Lucas could get up there with him, but not sure if Matt is maybe falling back to go low or if he's feeling like he can stay high. I think if those 3 cars got, side by side or nose to tail, they'd be able to get past those guys up there.
Yeah, I think so. You see the 45 is looking to go to the high side to get away from the 050 here. He's been all over the track for some reason. I don't know if he was trying to get air, but he went to the apron on the back stretch. But we saw Matt fall behind a little bit. Lap traffic had a little bit to do with that. Looks like he's trying to regain that momentum on the outside lane here, and it's going to take, 4 of those guys to line up. They're going to need that 45 or somebody else to peel off and help them here to get around these 2 guys if they want to get out front right now. We know they may have to pit again. At least I think they do. So I don't think that this is the race for the win right this second.
Well, here's the thing, too, John. We need to point this out. And fixed style setup, we're talking about the 45 machine of Lucas and those guys back there pulling up on the back end. Remember, on an open setup, their setup might not be allowed. You saw Matt just go back down low. He wasn't able to close that gap. On an open setup, their setup might be not allow them to get up there and just hold with the draft like they want.
You could lose stability, in your setup. If you go out and turn a bunch of laps to qualify, put in qualifying trim, you're fast. I'm fast by myself. And you get in the draft and there's not a lot of air around, then it's very loose. You lose that stability. So you got to be able to tune that into it. And I think that the car that has the best stability in traffic has been Daniel Johnson from what I've seen. I think his is the fastest by itself and the best in the draft.
Absolutely. Well, Mark Stevenson's been right there with him and tucked up on his back end. That 18, though, up top of Joshua with Ernie Ludwig there along with it. Looks very, very good. But I just saw Matt. He's been fast all night long, but I just noticed he was not able to close that gap. And we really haven't talked a lot about it with the setup being this open style setup here and the guys doing their own setups. A lot of these guys, their cars, like you just said, I feel like that setup, it won't allow them to close the gap, because even now Mark is having Matt there is having a hard time closing it up on the back of the 45 of Lucas. Again, could fool me. Could be by design. He's holding back right now. He could probably be saying, this, a big one might be forming, or a caution could be happening, because guess what? 15 to go.
Anyway, looking at the spacing he's got, it looks like he's there by design. I think he's fast enough to get up there. But he's also just glued to the bottom, so it kind of makes me wonder, is he waiting to see when these guys are going to come to pit road, so he's just being patient? He doesn't want to be up there up front and be having to make that decision. He wants to go off of someone else's decision and follow.
And we're getting down to the closing laps with about 14 to go. And this one, you can already see him up there clamming around. That's why that high lane is not giving up so far. Joshua, and it looks like it's Ernie Ludwig up top with him there. But Johnson down low, and you see right there, Joshua takes the lead. That's all he needs to lead it. But coming out of the turn, Daniel's able to push back. As these laps wind down, though, that 16 car up there up high behind Joshua, it don't matter in the turns. They'll be pushing for everything. And look who's going to lead that lap. That was to the line right there. Joshua had him.
Yeah, he had a great push from behind here. These guys are they're still pushing and going after it. So maybe they can go all the way. Who knows? But it just seems like to me that that's a long way to go. But maybe they're going to try to make it happen. You know, we've got some guys back here. I think that Matt is just sitting here by design to see what's going to happen. Maybe he thinks there's going to be a wreck, but looks like he's being very, very patient on the inside, which is not something we've really seen him do a lot. He's usually been the aggressor in most situations when he's been confronted with traffic.
Maybe saving some fuel?
I mean, he could be. I rode along in the cockpit view with him, and he wasn't really lifting very much, but he could be in the draft and not using, 100% throttle either. You see he gets a little bit of a run here. Maybe all these guys are trying to save a little bit. We've seen some lap times go up and down, so they could have me fooled, and they're going to be just fine. But I guess I'll shut up about fuel until we see if they come to pit road or not.
Well, and I'm with you right now because we got about 2 to go to where there's 10 laps left in this one, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see. Now that high lane is losing a little momentum there up top as they've fallen back. The 2 cars up there, don't know if it's by design on them. It's on a run there, but Johnson out front. Mark's going to need help. Is Marco going to be enough to push up on the back end? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Does anybody got anything for that machine out front there? What do you think, John? Anybody got anything for Johnson?
Definitely anybody could, but it's going to take a car that's clean to be up front. You're going to need several cars pushing behind. And I mean pushing to the point where you're almost going to blow it up in the last 2 laps. And we might see that happen. We might see the line form up to try to get around these guys. But, you got 2 really fast cars up front here who, I don't know. I think that we've seen that inside line prevail all night. I think most of the time going to the line, that one time there the 18 came out, he had it. But you see like this, like 3 cars versus the 2 up top. And then they get a little bit of a run coming back. It's going to take 4 or 5 guys on the outside really pushing to make that happen.
10 to go when they crossed the line, and they did. So, I tell you what, if they're going to pit, it's got to be soon. I'm interested to see because they're right there on the pit window of making it the entire distance here. But it's a good one. It's only separated by hundredths and tenths here, folks, amongst the field. Here comes the top 2 back up high. The number 18 of Joshua. He is bringing that car to life back up top. He's got the pusher there along with him, Ernie. Those 2 cars have been locked up, glued tight here. As when they come to the line, it's time. It's going to be 9 to go here.
And 18 gets a good shove. Now he goes up the track. He's killing their momentum right here, bringing the 16 back to him. And I know he's trying to keep the 16 with him, but they really need to do everything that they can to keep that momentum up. Now the inside lane is just taking off.
Got a lot of time still left here with 9 to go. It's an eternity here. Now they got a helper up top, it looks like. Still, right there, Marco is held down, but the 45 of Lucas says, let me try the high line, guys. Let me see if I can't bring it to the front. I tell you what, if this guy pulls off a miracle win, boy, he'll be one happy camper here tonight. But they lost one of their cars up there. Looks like Ernie drops down low. Oh, no, he's going to stay down low with him.
It looks like he's got a teammate up front there. Maybe he doesn't want to help the outside lane catch up and get by him, so he's going to leave these 2 up there, catch the draft of Matt in front of him, and see if he can't get by the 18 and the 45 here. As we see Matt with Marco just all over the track up there. I think these guys have enough to push and go, but I think they're going to wait it out till the last 2 laps, and then they're really going to be all over each other here.
Again, folks, you got to realize they don't need to pass. The leader just got to get that nose out front. Here comes Lucas up high. He's bringing a car to the front. He's got help there with Joshua up top. And they're not really close together, and he's still got that powerhouse. Man, I tell you, Johnson he's not out of the water yet.
He's definitely not. And then the other thing is they've got lap traffic up here they're about to run into. That's going to play a factor, who could get through there the cleanest and the fastest. And hopefully these lap cars don't come into play here.
No, it don't, but look at that. The 45 drops back down low. It's a single file up top. One of these guys going to make their move and form up. Is Mark going to just say, okay, I'm going to just drive right here and stay? And Lucas actually blinked out right there for the moment. But is Mark going to stay and be content to push Daniel to the win here? Or is he eventually going to drop to the outside, and then he's got to worry about, is Marco going to be able to come with him? Does he have help up top? A lot of scenarios going to play out here in the next 6 laps.
As we see, we're getting into this lap traffic now. They're doing a great job holding their line. 16's just cutting the middle here, making it 3 wide and making a huge run. The 16 is coming to the...
I see that. That 16 up high. If he can get a helper there along with him, he might be able to. That's Ernie right there. And Ernie Lugwood, he got a little draft off those lap cars and made it up high. He's going to need help, though. He's going to need a lot of cars. He knows time is running out. They crossed the line. 5 to go here at Daytona.
Ernie did a great job there tugging on the draft of the lap cars to be able to get up there. He's trying to fit in that space. And he does. Lets him in.
Man,
close right there, but very good call by Marco to lift.
Yeah, I was about to say that there. You're right. That was good awareness by Marco, because that could have been disastrous between them if Marco would have pushed the envelope there or issue some. Man, tell you what, you can see, you can feel it. Temperature heating up there. Who's got enough to get around that machine out front of Daniel?
I think we're going to see this 45 and the 16 possibly go to the outside here. I don't know. Marco's done great in the draft. I haven't really seen him shove anybody or get close enough to shove anybody, so maybe he's content with getting, a good finish here. Not saying he can't get up there. Maybe he will, and he just hasn't shown what his car can do yet. But we know that the 45 gets a really good tug off the draft here. The 16 does. But you got your top 3 right there. I think it's going to come down to those guys and somebody helping one of those to win.
And again, I go back to, at some point, Mark's got to say, this is it. I'm going to have to push Daniel to the lead, because I got no help. If I jump out up top, nobody comes with me. I'm going to drop way back. I'd rather probably come out of this thing second with a very good finish than way back in maybe 8th or 9th place here tonight. But if he can see that high lane getting a run with a lot of cars, he might jump up there late and get pushed to the front side of it. It'll be interesting here as they cross that line with lap 197 of 200. Johnson out front leading this one here, and he's been the car to beat all night long.
And then the other problem that Mark Stevenson has is, if he does jump out of line, is anybody going to go with him? Because behind Stevenson is Ernie Ludwig, who's a teammate to Johnson, so he's going to stay with Johnson and give him a shove. So that line's going to continue to move. The 53 pulling out of line, somebody's going to have to go with him, or he's just going to go even further back and lose spots. So, is anybody going to go with him? What's going to happen? He's got a teammate behind him. It's really put him in the toughest spot, I think. I think right now Daniel Johnson is in the best position. Normally you don't want to be the leader, but I think having his teammate just 2 spots behind him, I think, is a big help.
And I think the biggest difference here, Dan, yeah, we'll do some interviews, no problem. Can't do
Marco's
interviews while we're green. Yeah, Marco did go high. So does he have enough to get up there?
He does not. He just killed his momentum. He got up next to the wall. Matt, the 69 takes to the low side now. We've got a race. The 53 pulls out of line, got the 16 behind him. The 16 has left his teammate for the moment and is helping the 50.
Coming to the line, and the next time by, they'll take the white flag here at the Daytona 500. Mark is up top. Daniel Johnson down low. They've got 3 cars there up high. Are they going to be able to get enough to muscle this machine up there? I got a feeling Matt would love to be up high there helping him out, but he is stuck down on the bottom side. Down the bad stretch here. It's going to be a good one.
Inside lane gets a really good push there by Matt being in the back. Really important for Matt to be the best pusher here, and he did a great job down the back stretch there trying to keep this inside line moving. Now Johnson's clear of everybody. He can block the outside lane if he wants. He doesn't as Stevenson comes back at him. The 16 makes contact.
Oh, contact into there. White flag. There will not be a caution here because iRacing won't throw it no matter what happens in the wrecking in the back. They'll race this thing to the line for the final time here. Daniel Johnson is out front. Mark is up top. Marco was involved in that one along with Brian back there crashing, but they're still racing off down the bad stretch for the last time. Does Mark have enough to pull out this one off?
You see Matt giving a big shove to the 53 here. The 16 clips of 40.
Oh, Lucas is around. Daniel Johnson's all alone. It'll be a drag race to the line. If Matt stays to the back, he's got to make a decision who he is going to push because Johnson has no help. Mark is going to hold it off. Matt's coming in second. What a finish to this one. Mark Stevenson wins the Daytona 500 for the majors here. Wow, Johnson lost his dancing partner.
A huge deal there for the 69 to stay on the outside, help that 53 out. We just saw the 16 and the 45. It was just drafting. 16 was all over the 45's bumper there, and you'll see it just scrubbing all around the bumper, turn the 45.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what, right now, what a finish to this race here. And what a finish there for Mark Stevenson to pull this thing off. Wow. Man, John, that was an awesome run with this one here tonight. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
A great finish by those guys. A lot of intensity there at the end, which we knew it would be. They all got in that big group there and
I think
saw some beating and banging.
I think Mark is out of fuel.
We knew it was going to be close.
I believe he's being pushed. He is being pushed. I do believe Mark is out of fuel. Well, while we're waiting for these the guys up here, the top three, to jump up here and hopefully get an interview with them, I had a couple other drivers here that want to get a word in. And obviously with the green flag racing, it's a little different than road racing where there is no caution and everything's just straight green. We can talk to them. But bring it down here, Everett Lane. Everett, Joe in the booth, got a copy?
Hey, what's up, Joe?
Oh, not much, man. A little different on the oval side of things. We usually do interviews during our caution styles there, but
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a little different than what the road racing is, but come to the finish of this one, what a wild one there. It looks like actually Mark is out of fuel, and we knew it would be close for a lot of guys, but take us to what you thought your race was out here tonight.
Well, I felt like a used wash rag there about 3/4 of the way to the race when I was pushing Malik and Dan McAntonio back and forth to the lead, and I couldn't get nobody to get me up in front of them. Those guys were fast, but I don't know if I was going to have enough fuel there at the end. I got a few cars in front of me there, and that was a blessing for me so I could start saving fuel. And then right when we come and got the white flag, I was down to about a half a gallon of gas, and I was like, just get me back to the line, and I had enough to get to the finish line.
Man, no doubt about it. Yeah, and you finished it off here and through the finishing order, and not a bad one for you. I mean, how's it feel to run a full 500 series here on the oval?
This is my favorite week for Daytona. I love racing here. iRacing is my favorite week at Daytona. I got to thank Dan McAntonio for pushing me there. I raced with him a lot on these super speedways, and just by luck, right there at the end, when we come around that corner out of turn 4, there was Dan right behind me, pushed me to the win.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it was an awesome run by all you guys. It was very, very good race. 200 laps here, 500 miles. Outstanding job. You got anybody you want to thank out there?
I got to thank Dan for pushing me there at the end. I want to thank Mike and everybody up there, over here, Major Series. They do a great job. This is my first race with them. Looks like I'll be hanging around here doing some racing with them. But thank you guys for putting this on. And I want to thank my crew chief. And it was a fun night, really intense.
Absolutely. My definitely was a pleasure out here. And again, congratulations on the run tonight there, Everett.
Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, John.
All right, we'll bring out another guy down here and get a word in with him before we get our top 3 in really quick. Up here waiting, kind of really patient. Bring him down here. Dan, Joe White in the booth, got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Dan, I tell you what, man, hey, well, take us to your race here. 500 miles, 200 laps here, Daytona 500. What a race.
Oh, it definitely was. Really exciting. Starting from the back and coming that far up was
no doubt about it. I mean, well, is there anything, setup wise you could have done maybe a little bit different to pull yourself up front here and pull this thing off?
no. I think the setup was perfect all race. It would get out front and it would hold its line and pretty steady. It seemed to be good. Just got into a fuel strategy race and I had to lay back a little bit, which wasn't very fun, but that's the way it worked out. And then I was able to push Everett to the win.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what, man, Dan, looked really good out there doing it. But hey, got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, just congratulate Everett. Thank him. We worked together over the years. That was his paint job I was running, and Team Outcast and all the guys over there helping with setups and stuff. And it was fun.
There you go, man. Dan right there. Obviously, man, again, good congratulations on the run there tonight, Dan.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, let's bring up our top 3 guys here, John. Daniel Johnson here, 3rd place man. Bring him down, let you get a word with him.
Dan Johnson, this is John Wimbish. Joe White in the booth.
I got a copy.
Well, buddy, you were super fast, man. You just put on a really good show all night long, being up front, coming up through the field there. After your pit road incident, man, tell us what your mindset was after that, and then go through the last couple.
Well, right after that, it was basically damage limitation, just trying to stay on the lead lap, figure out where everything sorted out. Really, that green flag run right after the pit road incident, it was mostly about just calming nerves and finding an order to run in. The last run to the end, I knew we were marginal on fuel, and I ended up just kind of losing my nerve, knowing that we had just such a strong car, and I just knew I could motor to the front. And if I'd waited like another lap, I think we could have had it.
Yeah, your teammate was running 3rd there. Was that by design, to try to put Stevenson in a box to where if he made the move on you, your teammate was going to be right behind you, or do you guys not have team orders when it comes down to the?
We were basically going. We're basically just trying to communicate and stay. Most of the time, stay in line for the majority of the race. But other than like the don't screw your teammate over in the last 5 laps, it's pretty much fair game.
10-4. Well, man, you did a terrific job here all night long. I know you're a little disappointed, not the outcome that you wanted, but it's Daytona, man, anything can happen. So good race for you, good points out of it. So anybody you want
just all the team, all the guys at Kinetic that spent the hours doing testing for this and making it a strong car. You probably saw in the race near the end, last 40 laps or whatever, I just got a run and was able to pass like 8 cars on the outside, and that's all them. That's so. Yeah,
you will definitely see that if you go back and watch the broadcast that you passed a bunch of cars by yourself. We definitely caught that.
That's just how strong the car was tonight. That's what makes it a little bit more stinging of 3rd.
Yeah, definitely feel you there, man. But good run for you tonight, buddy. We'll see you in
See you in Rockingham.
Absolutely. Rockingham coming up here, these guys. That's going to be an interesting here. Let's bring up the second place man, Matt, who outstanding job. Let's get a word with him.
And Matt Gelders, John Wimbish, Joe White in the booth. You got a
Yeah, sir. What's going on?
Hey, you tell me, man, you were all over the place, bottom lane, top lane, pushing everybody, doing everything you could tonight. Tell me how your race went.
Eventful. Yeah, it was, I had a blast. It was fun. UDocs and Forge had a little mini alliance there that we were going to work together for the race, and it seemed to work out pretty well. That's kind of how me and Mark hooked up most of the second half of the race. And he said it's time to go, so it was time to go with 2 laps. So I kind of shoved him up there, and it seemed like there was some pinballs coming off the side of me a couple times there.
Yeah, well, it kind of ramped up there at the end, man. But you look like you had a really good car in the draft. Your car worked on the bottom side. It worked really good on the top side, especially when it came to you getting runs on guys and pushing them down the back straight. Looked like you were the guy that if I had to draft with somebody, want somebody on my bumper, I'd want you there. So you did a terrific job the whole race there. And tell me what your thought was there at the end when you realized it was just the 3 of you left and you were behind Mark. Were you just going to push him the whole way? Or did you think about trying to pull out a line there and see what would happen?
I was more worried about making sure that if I could get Mark clear, then I would see if I could get myself clear, and we were going to try to drag race to the end, but that didn't quite work out. I kind of thought about going 3 wide, but it's not worth it there at the end. I didn't want to tear up a perfectly good race car. I didn't want to have to worry about hurting somebody's chances of finishing, so it was like, I'm just going to hang out. I'll be happy with 2 or 3. I would have loved to win it, but I'm happy with P2. As of for the setup, I can't comment about the guys. The guys did a hell of a job on setups. We've been building this setup since back before the 2.4 started. That's now like 2 months that we were working on the setup. Travis, Ross, excuse me, Steve, Kevin, everybody put time in. I know between Travis and Steve Driscoll, they have like 3,000 laps in just setup testing. So I couldn't have done this without these guys. These guys are awesome.
It really paid off. You could tell there's a big difference there, and your car was great by itself. It was great in the draft. So all that really paid off for you, man. Anybody else you want to thank tonight for your second place?
Besides the team, want to thank sponsors, Direct Innovations, Lynn Clinchlow for his paints, awesome paints as always. We have our couple charities. We have Extra Life and the LG. I can't think of the other one for the life of me. I'm too ecstatic right now. But thank you for the charities. Thank you for everybody that supports Orthodox. And yeah, this was a great one. This was fun.
Yeah, you guys did a heck of a job, man. Put on a hell of a show. You did a great job. Congratulations on second place, and we'll see you at the next.
Yeah, thank you. And you guys are doing a great job. I hope hopefully you guys are liking it here, and I can't wait to go back and.
I'm loving it, man. We enjoy it. We'll see you at the next race, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
There you go, old Matt right there. He definitely came up strong in second. Well, to bring down the race winner here, Mark.
Hey.
Mark, Joy in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, earlier in the race, you were out front. You had several lap cars. It was during a green flag stop. You had several lap cars, but you had a pack coming. They caught you at the right time, and you were able to stay out, and the caution flew, and it allowed you to get back, I'm going to say, on cycle with everybody else there. From that point on, you stayed up front. At what point did you say, I had enough muscle in my car to make it past Daniel Johnson, because he looked like he had the car to beat tonight?
I saw that train coming up on the right-hand side. When I told Matt it was time to go, some cars came with him, and I was just like, oh man, this is not going to be good. So it was go time. And then everything kind of happened behind. I'd need to watch the replay, but it seemed like everybody between Matt and I got ping-ponged out, and it was just a drag race down. This is unreal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you pulled it up. It was a great race throughout. I mean, a lot of great strategies played out. I got asked, did you run out of fuel? Because we knew that was going to be close.
Did.
Yeah, that's what we thought. I saw you getting pushed around, and me and John up here was like, do they have enough to make it? Because that's another question, was the fuel. We knew it was going to be close. If a green-white checker would have came out, well, we know you probably wouldn't have made it, right?
So when I was stuck behind, I was actually happy that Daniel got in front of me when he did, because it allowed me to fuel save. I was about a half-gallon short, and then that's why I was like slowing up that line before he pulled out, and he allowed me to fuel save a bit. When I came out in front of that second line, I had a 1/10 of a gallon to spare. And it was just enough to get it across the line. I think if we would have pulled out like a corner early, we wouldn't have made it across the line. Like I would have gassed out coming out of 4.
Well, I think another thing that really, really helped him, Matt went with you right there behind him, and I think at one point he was thinking, which way do I need to go, and he helped you push you up there to the front. Johnson just lost his, drafting partner there on the back stretch, and you were able to fly around on the outside, but man, what a heck of a run, what a heck of a race, and what a heck of a victory for you here to pull it off here to the major sportsman's class for the Daytona 500. You got anybody you want to thank?
The team, Brian, Rob, Chris, Greg, Zachary, Dakota, Dan, Ronald, Adam, Dominic, Eric, Steve, the people that helped us out with the setup so that we could basically got everybody except for 2 people into the top split. Unreal. Just this was vindication for the last race. Definite vindication.
Well, we head off to Rockingham next. How you feel about that one?
I'm not a short track guy, so it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see a whole different group of people up front for Rockingham.
Absolutely. You got a different car there too, the K&N car, so it's definitely going to be interesting. But savor the moment, because you won the Daytona 500 here for the majors. Again, there, Mark Stevenson, congratulations on that win.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you go. Have at it, John. I tell you what a finish to this one here. I mean, that was a wild race.
It definitely was. Come down to the end there. It was a pretty exciting finish, and we knew that it was going to amp up there at the end. But great job by these guys to just keep at it. And a lot of these guys had some issues, and they kept fighting, trying to come back and get a good finish out of it. And they did. We've got other guys that need to mention here. Gerard Gilbert finishing 5th, started 27th. The 45 car, Lucas, you kept talking about finishing in 6th. Through all his adversity, the things that happened to him, it's a good finish, for him. Not exactly what he wanted or where he was running there at the end, but still better than what it could have been. So just really impressed by what the guys put on here and how fast they were able to be and really making the fuel work all the way down to the end. I was really thinking they were going to run out.
Well, talk about running out. I mean, definitely did right there at the end. It was awesome. So, well, like you said, it was an awesome race, and I hope everybody loved it, because I loved it. It was definitely, man, one for the ages here tonight. And for myself and John and everybody here, the majors, again, congratulations to Mark out there for pulling this thing off. We're going to leave Daytona here. Everyone, hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.